Welcome to the J.Gray podcast. I am joined by my friend, bartender extraordinaire and connoisseur of the comic book world, Mr. Matt Nichols. Welcome, Matt.
Former bartender extraordinaire.
Ooh, the former.
I have bartended since fucking pre-COVID. Are we doing headphones?
Yeah,
Headphones.
so you can hear yourself. There you go.
Hear myself.
You can talk right into the mic. It's hard for me to hear you. There you go. So you and I, we go back a number of years now, all the way back to the White Swan days.
Correct.
And I had you and the other Matt with us for an episode. That was over a year ago now. Can you believe it?
Happy birthday to Stuntman.
To Stuntman. Happy birthday, man.
Stuntman's birthday.
Nice. So what was it like for you within the first month, let's say March, when stuff started to shut down? What kind of went through your head, and how did you cope with the news of what the fuck are we going to do? And go ahead and get the mic closer to your mouth for me.
When did the first CARES Act pass? Because I remember the 13th was my last shift, and I had a show to work on the 15th of March.
Okay.
And there was some concern, obviously, because I had what I had, and then like went straight to unemployment the second that kind of rule went down on the 15th. Like, okay, we're all done working for now.
Yeah, phase whatever was everything shutting down.
But once the 600 a week plus up happened, it was, okay, well, let's do this for a while. So I bought a giant truck, and I paid off one of my cars and bought a truck and hung out. And like it didn't feel like I wasn't going to come back to bartending, which I haven't decided.
Yeah,
I might.
Okay.
If I do, it will be with people I know, and it won't be like with what's left. Like I have a feeling that like the large chains are going to be able to survive by siphoning a lot of business off of smaller companies that have to fold.
The independent restaurants. Yeah, I mean, what the statistics these days today say, at least 50% of these smaller restaurants are going to be closed forever.
I think that's pretty optimistic.
For 50%?
Yeah, I think that's really optimistic. If you're talking about even normalizing is years out, like I really don't see a lot of these businesses lasting very long. Like, just doesn't. It's hard. It's really hard to kind of grasp. Like you do the business. You're there. You see kind of the ebb and flow, and when you're limited to that many turns, like you don't have a bar, so you don't have the same movement, the same flow. So you have 5 people. Obviously, you try to get groups. And then how many turns do you get off of 3 tables a night with 10,000 square feet?
I mean,
there's no money in it.
There's no money in it. It's not enough to even barely stay open as is, because it's a volume business. And from the owner business side, you want to keep that restaurant filled. You want to keep the rotations going so you make the money, and it makes everybody's time worthwhile.
Yeah.
If that's not happening, is it even worthwhile to keep the restaurants open?
No, and I think what's more unfortunate is this pool of employment that's sitting there that's probably stronger than a lot of other employment pools, but is not considered kind of people that you would hire from into other industries. Although because that industry is like, it's directly relative to how hard you work, how much money you make. It's very kind of altruistic. Like the harder you work literally is the more money you're going to make, which not every industry is like that. That creates this kind of pool of the hardest workers in the country who all have nothing to do but sit on their hands right now and hope for an industry to come back. So,
well, the paradigm shift has happened now twice in my adult lifetime. 10 years ago, we had the crash from 2008. Now 12 years ago, here we are once again. So from the millennial standpoint or Gen Xer standpoint, it's like, what are we doing? We just keep running a rat race for a monetary value that's going to continue to be diminished every single year. Yeah. So overall, we both love bartending. We love entertaining. We love having a good time and making sure other people around us are having a good time. There's an art craft in that. But at the end of the day, if you're not making the money that you need to raise a family or survive on your own, what are we doing? So what would you like to see change? Let's say 2 years from now, things are starting to get back to a flow that we've seen in the past. What would you like to see in the paradigm shift of the bar world, or at least the bartending world, that would be better for everybody?
Maybe just steps in there's a lot of things about the industry that bother me in terms of like the payment structure and like how the money is made, right? Like, you forego as a bartender or as a server. Like, I don't like to complain too much about bartenders because we have it easier, I think, than a lot of people in the industry do. Like, it's kind of the top of the scale.
It's an envious role.
It is it's a sought after role within the industry. But then there's people who just serve tables to make ends meet, and literally because you're allowed to take tips, and I stress the word you're allowed to. You're in a way required to forego a lot of your labor rights. Like there's no breaks, there's no lunch breaks, there's no insurance, there's none of the stuff that other labor forces get because you're allowed to take tips. But on the flip side, you're not allowed to do it, but everybody does it. They take your tips and then they subsidize the back of the house with it. And they tell you, like, we pool money. But they're just not paying the back of the house. You're paying the back of the house, and then they're telling you that they're part of generating tips. So now you're not only foregoing all of your workers' rights, you're foregoing part of the money you've generated that you're allowed to generate to subsidize what they're not willing to pay to stay competitive, which kind of falls into the operating costs of a restaurant. So, and where does that money come from? Because to make ends meet, you're not looking at big margins in general. So if you do pay people, where's the sacrifice made? Is it in the quality of liquor? Is it in the quality of the food? Things like that. So the entire business model is based on something that we're allowed to do. But the entire business model nationwide is based on this model, which is weird, right?
Yeah.
It's based on basically labor exploitation, it's a problem. It's a choice on our end to do it because we get benefits from it, but we don't get the normal benefits that workers get. And what we're seeing now when we're all out of work is that we have nothing, and society does literally not give a fuck about us. So
tough place to be for many people.
Do. We have Andrew Yang out there fighting.
That's right. That's right. We got
AOC, former bartender, was out there fighting.
That's right. And I understand her perspective when she talks about dealing with people, because if there's one thing a bartender knows how to do, it's dealing with people for the most part. And how to gauge people and read body language and deal with the situation and try to curb any type of acceleration of emotions and passions happening at the bar, try to calm stuff down.
That and combine that with just multitasking. I hear people in real jobs, like I hear real job and I just hear like you answer emails and like you talk and a bunch of extra talk all day. You talk about stuff that you're going to do and don't really do anything. But I hear regular employees in regular jobs talk about multitasking as a complaint. I'm like, that's like fucking what I do for a living. 1,000 things at once.
When you see restaurants that instead have a tipping program, they build the cost into what they charge the customer and they say, we've already built in the tip. This takes care of our servers and their benefits, etc. Do you think that's a better method, or that method just kind of masks the same type of thing that's going on?
Yeah, I mean, you're still just charging the customer for it. So why would you crank up the price? Why not price everything effectively? If you're going to pass the price on to the customer, don't hide it like that. I mean, the places that do it want to make sure that money is separate for gratuity allocation.
Sure.
I mean, you don't want to just say you're subsidizing other incomes with money generated from the front of the house. But on the flip side, if you're going to just divvy up the money, just take the money from the customer and divvy it up. Like, put the clarity there. But then on the flip side, now you're talking about having to give people breaks and stuff, which means you have to staff more. Like, the whole point to the way the industry works now, even with those like lack of benefits for workers, the whole point is to staff as little people as possible. Our entire stock market's based on companies that run off of the lowest overhead right now. The industry model is low overhead, and that comes off the labor side. It doesn't come off of the food quality side because that's what sells the business. So,
well, do you think that there could be, at least in the market that has changed in the last 20, 30 years, has been customers' ability to get home a lot easier with Lyft and Uber and other modes of transportation? Do you think bars, once things open up again, will stay open later than 2 o'clock, or bars will cater towards a 2 to breakfast time audience, or is Seattle just not that type of city?
City by city, I think it would be smart if they want to keep the industry alive to kind of Vegas as much of the urban populations as you can. Like, if you want it to work, you want to keep people out of enclosed spaces and you want to maximize outdoor dining. And I mean, I don't know how that's going to work in Seattle. Like, that's a big part of this, is like what we've seen in job numbers is just based on outdoor dining, and that's going to be gone. And they loosen restrictions on indoor dining, but that's not going to do shit. Like, in terms of like how much money somebody makes to do this, it's not going to make ends meet.
Yeah, and also just the attitude of people that are thinking about coming back to a restaurant. They're not going to be they don't want to be inside of a packed building, period, no matter what it is. And again, it's the volume, it's the turnover that is what has kept these restaurants in business for so long.
And the poor people who got tricked into being salaried people who'd like take a bar shift or take a serving shift as salaried management are probably the hardest working people right now, because now they're covering 3-4 people's job to keep the overhead down.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the ones that are trying to keep these places alive. And here we are in the middle of October. This week is when we start to see temperatures getting close to freezing, meaning in the 40s.
This is terrible.
Mine's not bad. I got the
Yours is not bad.
Pina colada one.
Pina colada?
Yeah. Which one did you get?
Fucking something milky.
Green, milky?
Yeah.
Cafe, something.
I hope America can hear it.
Yeah. To hear the disgust. Yeah, it's been nuts, man. When I got off the plane from the Mortal Kombat event, which was the last event that we did, and they had to cancel the audience because of COVID. And we were super pissed at first because we're like, all these people are here. They flew out to Chicago to come to the event. What are we doing? And then you take a step back, you take a breath, and realize from an executive's point of view, a Warner Brothers executive point of view, we don't want to be sued for somebody getting sick and dying. And at this time, I did not understand the full scope of what this was. I thought it was just a virus coming to get the boomers. I'm like, I'm going to be fine. Not the case. So during that time, it was the understanding of where can I go to know how things are going to happen. I have to go back to 100 years ago to the Spanish flu and realize that shut stuff down and just have the expectation of I'm not going to bartend anymore. It's just not going to happen. And luckily enough, I had a little bit of my savings to survive, along with the money that came in for that Mortal Kombat show. And I felt comfortable to be the first one cut from the bar. And I called my boss saying, you can cut me first. I'm okay.
That's where I'm at. Like I still haven't gone back, even though they do have some space for me over there. Go see Screwdriver.
Yeah.
My home away from home. There's people there that need the shifts. I don't necessarily need them, and I'm kind of exploring kind of other stuff to do.
Sure.
So.
And how has that been for you mentally? Because for us as as the men, the breadwinners in our own circles, you have a family to take care of. It is quite an attack on the self-confidence, the self-psyche. I had to go through that in the summer. Like, wow, where did I screw up? Blah blah blah. And I realized, oh no, I'm an entertainer. Everything in the world of entertainment is shut down.
Yeah.
This is just my lot in life for right now. It's not the end all be all. But how did you get through that? Because I had to talk to some friends and call some people who were like, hey, am I okay?
When I hit you up last,
okay.
You did the musings episode where you were talking about how you were a fucking shaman. But America, this was at my house and it was my DMT
yes, it was.
That we went through. It was my old drummer had come to town, and I hit you up for that very reason, because when you're a bartender, you're on stage. Yep. Like, you're talking and you're kind of, even when other people talking and you're not talking, you're kind of controlling the vibe of your immediate area. There's obviously like Friday, Saturday kind of nuts atmosphere where that's not necessarily the case.
Where you're just with the flow.
It's just a wall of people that want something. But yeah, you don't really realize how much you're on stage until you stop.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's literally why I hit you up. I need to have a conversation with somebody who does this, who talks. I can't just talk to my wife's friends or talk to my friends in the neighborhood. I'm with my friend Brandon all the time. He's in the industry, so he's a performer and stuff like that. So he's like this a little bit, but yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird not having conversations with people. Like, I listen to people talk all the time.
Yeah, it's been a number of times that I've been in the house thinking, oh, I want to go do this tonight, and realize I can't. Or I really miss this and realize I can't go do it. But to me, the silver lining, and I talked about this in a previous Musings episode, is I look forward to everybody wanting to get back to that world, wanting to go see shows, wanting to get out to the bars and have a good time. But it's going to be a process. It's not going to be like Governor Inslee goes, okay, phase 3, everybody go to the bars now. There'll be a couple people like that, but not the same type of business. It has to warm up to it. And it's not going to be until next spring, summer, if things have calmed down and there's a vaccine that's out there. But these are really realistic expectations. And that's been, for me, the most disappointing fact of this entire process is, outside of talking about anything political, just the realistic expectations of leaders saying, this is significant enough that you need to stop having any type of expectations of going out this summer. Or traveling. And I didn't get that from my leaders. I got that from history and history books that said, oh, what happened last time? Shut everything down. But it's real tough for people to swallow. And I bet it's a lot easier for me to process because it came from history books years after, instead of being in the mania of the moment.
It's got to be easier for different kinds of people. Like, we're both city types. We're not in Seattle technically right now, but we're both Seattle adjacent, and we're both in the city quite a bit, and we're both kind of out and about types. Where there's a lot of people, I think, in your Twin Falls, Idaho's, and little places where it's
shout out to Twin Falls.
That's where I went to high school. That's where if somebody says, "Hey, stay the fuck home," normally you'd be like, "Yeah, cool, I'll stay the fuck home." But some people are like, "No."
Yeah, well, it also was a shutdown of their way of life, and it's war, folks. We're at war with an invisible enemy, and you got to make sacrifices. But the bars are still the toughest places to open back up, is because people get inebriated, they take the masks off. There's more of that libation feel, which is a good thing, but people are not thinking about the consequences of the world in a bar, which is why it has been the last thing to really open up. They're going to open movie theaters before they open bars.
What I think the massive bummer is, like, the argument about this kind of unemployment plus up, they're trying to like whittle it down.
Yeah.
And as time passes, I don't think they're really realizing that as time passes, the need for that number to go up is going up. Yeah. Because people are running out of regular unemployment. We're so many weeks past your normal unemployment allocation that everybody's basically running on extensions now.
I'm living on borrowed money now.
That's exactly it for me,
my
too.
My savings have run dry. I'm on borrowed money now.
What the fuck are we doing? You can just print money. This is not a household. You don't budget a country like you budget a household. You have a printing press. Like, it's called a sovereign currency. Why can't we do that math as a people? Like, we can fix it later, but we need to, basically throw money at this problem.
Well,
everybody knows it. Besides Larry Kudlow, everybody knows it.
Different leaders have come out and said, if we don't take care of the people now with these funds, it's going to get worse later, and the effects are going to be much worse. And they made those similar arguments in 2008 with the crash. For me, going through everything that I went with my personal business, applying for PPP and what type of help I could get, I was incredibly heartbroken that some individuals that work for the government, that work within the White House that you see on camera, were guaranteed at least $1 million and received that money from the PPP program, where my business only received $250.
There you go.
And that type of system was wow. So all the rich just capitalized it even more, while us working folk who, last year I was juggling between 3 different jobs to the detriment of my mental health, that I needed to take a break because I had a super bad day one day. If I'm going through that within my sphere of, doing okay, I can only imagine what it's like for a single parent who's got 4 jobs and all these other things. I'm like, it's not even healthy to raise a family here in America if it's hard for me as a single person.
We're completely homeschooling now.
Yeah.
We haven't even we pulled her out of Seattle Public School. We're just going to do it ourselves for now, and then we'll go back when it's time to go back. So I mean we can do that because I'm at home and she's able to work from home. But yeah, we're parenting from home now. We're doing all the schooling ourselves.
What's that balance like with the schooling and trying to cultivate a fun place for the kid to grow up, but at the same time, a place of learning? Because growing up for us, it was like, you went to learn to school, you came home, you did your homework, get it over with, and then you played.
I'm just teaching her to be goth now. That's not even
That's a normal phase.
Yeah, I'm like, we're listening to The Cure, and we're going to be goth. We're a goth family. We're having Gothsgiving. Like, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Normal phase.
I'm not kidding, yeah. You have to listen to goth music now and watch The Crow.
Well, now's the time.
Now's the time. Yeah,
now's the time.
We've decided as a family to become goth.
Do you all know what you're going to be doing for Halloween? Doing any costumes this year?
Yeah, goth. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, but anything specific from the realm of goth?
Well, her idea, she saw the video for the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. And she's like, I want to do that. And I'm like, well, okay, we can do kind of that. Let's just be goth.
That song means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Actually, that was the first pop song I heard when I was knocking on doors on a mission, where I couldn't listen to any pop songs.
Oh, yeah.
And that song was playing out of somebody's car real loud, and I just stood there and listened to it, and I went, wow, this song's amazing. This song's a ballad. And then another time that happened is when we were knocking on doors in South Central, and these are like the LA screen doors that are super heavy, and you knock real loud to see if anybody's home. And the guy on the radio was like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a new single from The Killers, which was my favorite group at the time.
You heard me roll my eyes. I remember going to the Hard Rock in Vegas and seeing like all the Killers outfits in like the entryway one day.
Oh yeah,
that's like I go to the Hard Rock relatively commonly when I'm in Vegas just to see kind of
see what's up,
the band paraphernalia. I have some similar guitars as some of the artists that are displayed in there, which is funny. Like my acoustic is like the same exact guitar that like Taylor Swift has on display in there. But one time I went in there and it was just wall to wall Killers crap. And that band.
Well, That song was pretty.
That makes
magical
sense.
for
You're
me.
the perfect age to like the Killers.
Yeah. Hot Fuzz is one of my favorite albums. I think that's been their best album ever since.
I didn't even know that was the name of one of their albums.
Yeah,
I know it's the name of a terrific film.
Sure, but that's the album that
The Girlfriend
Hot Fuzz.
song.
Yeah, that's the album that made him big.
Okay.
Mr. Brightside and
Okay.
the other one, the pop hit. But that's when I was in college. My first
What year
of
did that? That
college.
was early
This is
2000s?
2004, 2005. Oh my gosh, 16 years ago, bro, when Killers were dropping music. Whew.
I don't even know what I was listening to in 2004, 2005. Lawrence Arms, probably.
Yeah.
I was listening to a lot of Chicago punk rock.
I had a bit of a bluegrass kick. I was listening to a lot of Alison Krauss and Union Station. Because I loved...
I'm going through a lot of that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard... I was at Drunkie's barbecue place in White Center yesterday, and I heard Deer Tick. You ever heard Deer Tick?
Not in a long time.
It's weird. It's that Bob Dylan-y voice. It's acoustic shit.
Well, now's the time for that 90s nostalgia, bro. Here we go into a new...
the 90s are back.
The 90s are back. Here we go into that new nostalgia.
We're like 10 years away from nu metal coming back. That should be fun.
That's true.
When Papa Roach's like cycles back through.
Are you okay, Annie? Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't Papa Roach though. That was
Yeah, it was.
No, the Smooth Criminal remake was
Oh, it was Ant Farm. Alien Ant Farm. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I've seen all these bands.
I'm sorry, yeah.
They all dropped their
Papa
Ds.
Roach did a Michael Jackson cover, right?
No. They did that Suffocation.
That's Papa Roach.
Can't sing too much.
No
so they'll
breathing. Yeah,
they'll take your video down.
It's a parody, YouTube. Don't take it down, please. DMCA laws. So the Christmas season, I think when a lot of people usually go out, or Thanksgiving when they go out or try to get out, or at least travel, none of that's happened. I'm staying here. I'm not traveling. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people talking about how maybe there's going to be some similarities to that 32-33 year post-Depression when they'd voted out Hoover.
Yeah, and the Hoovervilles and all. Yeah. That's gonna be a rough winter. I've heard the same, dude.
That dead zone between Hoover and FDR.
Oh, if there's a stimulus that doesn't get passed, that doesn't cover the people that need it for this gap until whatever happens after the election.
No, just liability protection should cover it. Nobody needs money. Let's just make sure everybody's. Let's make sure Cheesecake Factory can spread some disease.
Yeah, they can't get sued. It's weird, dude. It's weird. If I do go back to bartending, which I would still like to, because there's a lot more that I can learn, get better at the craft.
You were still a noob.
Yeah, within 2 years, so still an apprentice. I'd like to do it at a place that I could walk to, because the commute was killing me, dude.
I didn't even drive to work. Like I worked miles away from my house, and I would take the bus in, Uber out. I didn't drink that much when I was on the job, but just in case.
But for me, it's an hour and a half to get from here to White Swan on public transportation, or it'd be like a $35 to $65 Lyft ride to get home.
Yeah, you're out here.
Yeah,
in West Seattle, it's like I pay
West Seattle's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, I pay Uber Pass, and it's always $14.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. That's great. But for me, it started to add up, and just the taxation of getting to work was okay, but then long day of work, I'm tired. I don't want to sit on public transportation for another hour and a half, so I just I'll get the Lyft. Then I do that twice in a row. I'm like, wow, I spent half of the money that I made over the weekend on Lyft rides. What? So it just started to get too much, too taxing, especially when I have this as practically a full-time job as well, building the studio as a president of my own company. So there was
a shaman,
and a president, a real shaman. I'm getting there. It was really examining my time, and I feel many people have done that recently, and I've talked about this a number of times across the entire country, or even across the entire world, of do I really need to go into the office every day? I can work from home and get all this stuff done from home.
Yeah.
And now some companies are actually paying employees to go move to the town they grew up in because it's cheaper living, as long as they have good internet and they're good to go.
I don't think everybody wants to be at home all the time, though.
No, there's going to be a pendulum shift. But if people have the choice of living in a city that's super expensive and commuting every day in traffic, or spending more time with their family and doing stuff that they love at home or building their own business.
Awful.
Sounds great, depending on your home life. But there's also a hybrid of you go to the office every Monday and Friday, but then you work from home Tuesday through Wednesday, Thursday,
The freedom thing is what we're looking at, which is the goal. Like, freedom to kind of move around outside of going to and from work would be the nice thing, especially if like Elon Musk puts 4,000 satellites up that we can all get free Wi-Fi from.
Yeah. What is it? Star something they're calling it?
I don't know. I'm sure he danced when he released it.
I bet. He's not too happy about Bolivia. I'm not too happy with him either. He was for a coup, and it's like, bro, what? And then the coup didn't happen, thankfully. They had a Democratic
I feel like we learned a lesson
election
from Bolivia already in the last few years, right?
The latest one, yeah, that elections actually can work, and they can reestablish their democracy for their country. So it's a good lesson. Anyways, people want to make money. People in America have been exploiting other countries for, I don't know, the last 150 years. So it'd be great if they would stop doing that.
People just do what they're incentivized to do. That's the unfortunate thing, and
that's the heart of human nature.
Yeah, the world's business model is by any means necessary. You need the almighty dollar, and it doesn't matter whether it's the low end through crime or the high end through crime.
And you have to have growth. Do you think that will change after this? If there's a bit of a human revolution of companies realizing it's better to have a great company that people love to work for through a consistent basis rather than trying to continue to grow to please their shareholders?
I think once a lot of the information's out on kind of how people are the product in social media, when it's publicly traded companies that you're literally speculating on the growth potential of a publicly traded company where people are the product, which there's no question that they are on Facebook. Like,
yeah, it's the people, the data.
I mean, if you're tracking the metrics for growth potential are tracked through engagement and time spent, that makes you the product. And as many times as they want to say it's not true, that is true. I mean, if that's the metrics that they gauge success by.
Yeah.
Well, so there'll be backlash. Once it's like, I mean, our friend Barr issued that lawsuit.
Yeah, Mr. Barr. Well, but speaking of backlash, and again, this whole pendulum swinging back, paradigm shift that we're going through, which I look towards history to show how things changed after all these crazy things that happened between the boom of the 20s, or into the boom of the 20s, but the virus, the war, World War I, and the global vision that a lot of these, not just entrepreneurs, but these tycoons had of like, oh, we can grow our business internationally and make deals. I mean, the Bush wealth from Prescott Bush is built off the deals that he made with the Nazi Party to make money on the weapons and the oil and stuff. So it seems like all of these policies and people have capitalized on all this money that they made during the war, and now those dynasties are starting to fold because the populace are realizing that this system isn't working for them because they now have the technology to talk to each other with the internet.
Yeah, it's like it's just a class mobility argument. I think it's like we're one of the worst in the developed world in terms of class mobility. You stay where you are because people don't know that they're doing it. Like there's generational wealth in place, and then the policies in place to protect that. And protecting that steps on other people's ability to create their own generational wealth, particularly in people of color communities.
Yeah, which needs to change.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can be part of the change or see part of the change, but it's been very, very fascinating with my lifetime to see how technology has advocated for these change. But technology has been the driving force of so much change since the printing press.
Porno.
And pornography.
Porno drives
Well, let's talk about pornography. Pornography was the reason why we went VHS over Betamax, because the porn industry backed VHS. The porn industry is the reason why we went Blu-ray instead of HD DVD, because the porn industry backed Blu-ray.
Not only that, but to rip copy-protected tapes, you had to take VHS and rip from Betamax to get past copy protection. So a lot of stuff that was put out on Betamax was copied onto, or vice versa, because of, like, that was how my uncle did it. Like he did it the opposite way. He would go to like a VHS rental place and then rent a place, and then he would rip it onto a Betamax cassette, and just because they were copy protected tapes. But that's part of it.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see how influential the medium of pornography has for the type of physical medium that we choose. But I don't have a CD drive in my computer. Everything is the thumb drives now. So for the physical media world, do you collect physical media? Do you have records? Do you have stuff that you love to keep that's off the internet, off the grid?
No, not necessarily. records, like if normally smaller scale bands, like if I do their show or if I put out their show or if I'm friends with them or whatever, if they have a small release of a record, I'll collect that stuff if I know them. But I don't really collect anything media.
Okay.
Like I've actually gifted out a lot of the VHS that I've gifted out some fucking rare VHS because I don't collect it. I gave somebody a copy of Rad on VHS, and that's almost impossible to find.
My family's got a bunch of VHS tapes up in the what does VHS stand for? I'm trying to remember what it stands for. Video home something?
I don't remember.
I don't remember, dude.
What that stands for.
Dang.
It's called we call that legacy technology in IT Pro.
Yeah. But everything is vaulted on the internet, able to access, but there's been an argument of a number of people that prefer to have a physical medium, a physical media.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I miss like liner notes on CDs or cassettes. Like I miss kind of opening up and
the album
seeing
artwork.
the little bits and stuff like that. Because nobody looks through that digitally. That's kind of a lost thing nowadays.
Yeah, or you
it's
get it in a PDF and it's not the same thing.
Yeah, like I always remember looking through like old punk rock records and like Fat Records, like near the address for the record label, like, hey, send us $1, we'll send you something weird. That's what they would say. Or there was like a Propaganda record that had their mailing address for fans, and it was like, send us $1 when we'll send you an envelope full of boogers or something like that. Was in one of their records.
I believe it though. Yeah, but there's something about having something physical, especially when people think about doomsday scenarios and we can't access the internet, can't access electricity. How are we going to enjoy all this media?
Yeah, see, I don't buy that.
Yeah.
Like, I could take a car battery charger and build a computer out of garbage. Like, honestly, like, I could build a computer out of garbage. Like, I think there's a lot of people who could do that. It doesn't take much. Like, anybody who's qualified to work at Best Buy's Geek Squad could literally build a computer out of garbage with what's sitting around nowadays. Like, I walk through a Goodwill and you could build something. Enough to, like, especially with nowadays, like, how much storage is capable of and how much CPUs are capable of, is like, if you have the power and the cooling, you can figure out how to make that stuff work. It's not that complicated. You
and I watch a lot of the same YouTube content. Are you familiar with Graham Hancock? He talks about the ancient cultures and stuff. To me, it seems so feasible that's what happened, because if an asteroid came and wiped out most of the civilizations that were coastal that had the information on how to build cars and computers and phones, it would wipe out most of the knowledge. I don't know how to build a computer from garbage. I know how to build a computer if I have a motherboard and a video card and memory and where stuff goes, but I can't solder the circuits together or figure out how to build that.
Well, they're not designed to do that. Everything's kind of modular, but if you go back through history, like, you can just find any motherboard, whether it be AT or ATX or whatever different, like, Raspberry Pi versions of a motherboard, and know that you can find components that are going to match that. You don't want to, mess with stuff that's board soldered unless you really know how to do it. But getting something with, enough SATA ports and enough PCIe on it, like, it's everywhere. All that stuff is everywhere.
Yeah. So
like I was saying, you can make a fucking RAID array out of USB drives, and you can turn an old PC into a NAS system with 2 thumb drives and 1 hard drive. Like, all you have to do is, like, go download FreeNAS and run it on your network, and you have, like, a media storage device on your network. Like, there's a million things to do with all that stuff.
So all that stuff sounds so fascinating, and I love to learn it, but I prefer to learn how to grow my weed plants better
all on YouTube
at the moment.
It's all on YouTube.
Yeah, but that's been another thing for me of compartmentalizing my time of what's the most important thing that I should learn about now. It's mainly been about my garden and staying on top of the politics stuff has been important and to try to stay informed, but it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing in that realm. Time to keep tabs on it, but move on. Where do I want to keep my other focus? And for this summer, for me, it's been gardening and nutrition and getting my meals locked in and hiring a nutritionist. Shout out to Strong Life Fitness to really help me say, here's what you eat when you eat it, and measure it and go from there.
Yeah, I can't do that.
At first, I'm like, that's gonna be a lot. I prefer it now. I actually like it because
you just want to eat old food. Day 7 of your meal plan, just eat week-old food.
If it has the feeling of the benefits that I feel now, sure. And then there's some days where I'm like, I want to have a really, really good meal. It's super tasty, great. Other days, just plop it into the convection oven, heat it for 20 minutes, and good to go.
My move is so less complicated. I just got a rowing machine, and now I just eat once a day.
What time do you eat?
Since I'm step parenting, like the weeks that we have the kid with us, it's around her dinner schedule, and then other than that, it's kind of, I like to do the 16 hours of not eating and then give myself a window, and I'll snack a little bit and then one meal. That's it.
There you go. Okay.
Usually 6-ish.
I was doing the intermittent fasting of not eating till noon and then eating no later than 8, sometimes 10 o'clock.
That's right. Yeah. I wouldn't eat between, like, I'll eat between like 2 and 10.
Nice. It worked for me in order to maintain, but there was definitely some days where I felt like I could like pig out on ice cream and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, it's okay. I just won't eat anything till noon tomorrow. Well, you do that enough days in the week, you start to gain weight. So
that's why you got to start making bone broth, drink broth.
Yeah, and helping with the diet. But what I have found doing this version of the diet is when I wake up, I'll have 3 to 4 eggs, 2 to 3 egg whites, and half a cup of oatmeal, and sometimes coffee. But it'll kick on my...
just sounds like torture.
But it'll kick on my metabolism so that throughout the entire day, whenever I have my 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th meal, I'll eat it, and then I'm hungry an hour later. And it just feels like my body is burning all day.
I think you do more than I do.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
Like well, I work out and I practice guitar and stuff like that,
but physically possibly. But you gotta. I mean, you're raising a kid, so you got a lot of the mental stuff as well.
And I do all the gardening and a lot of stuff around the house. I like you. I'm growing food and growing weed and got destroyed by mold this year.
Yeah. Well, shout out to
gray
you
mold.
Pointing out that gray mold that I have hitting my peppers right now. I've been
it's pretty nasty stuff.
Yeah, so I got to harvest tomorrow and then clear out those weeds. The whole reason I put down that beauty bark was to stop those weeds, but then I found out that weeds drop from the sky. They don't just come from the ground.
Yeah, and when you're dealing with fungus, like those wood chips are just a magnet for different kinds of fungus.
Yeah.
Any kind of wood chip. Like we do mulch dumps because it's free, and they just pay for the delivery of like whoever's doing some sort of landscaping job. There's a service that'll just kind of just bring you whatever. And the last one we did is just a crazy mold factory, like white dust mold and gray mold, and there's like 7 different kinds of mushrooms growing in my yard under the cedar right now.
Well, it's time to harvest either way, and it's mainly just the rest of the serrano peppers. But I had a lot of fun putting that garden together and using so many different of those peppers to create chilies. I made a lot of homemade chilies from that different stuff, and it was very satisfying. Something that I totally dismissed when I was a kid. I don't want to garden. I don't want to do this stuff. Now as an adult, it's like, yeah, I get so much satisfaction out of it. For sure. And it's maybe because of living a digital life for so long, realizing that I needed a big dose of the real.
Yeah, how many hours a day of YouTube do you consume, do you think?
Shit.
Yeah, it's getting when you're
2 hours 2 hours at least.
At least you start with the hill.
2 hours
morning, right?
at least. Yeah.
Your Crystal and Sagar, that's first thing for me. Like
Crystal and Sagar, and if I didn't watch Seth Meyers'
Closer Look,
like then usually catch up on that. And a lot of media updates, like Grace Randolph I'll watch every day for tea happening in Hollywood or casting rumors and stuff like that. Emergency Awesome occasionally if a big trailer's popped out. A couple trailer reactions.
Everything Always is kind of one of those for me. Like
just kind of keeping tabs on stuff. But it's the beauty about it is when you can enjoy 10 to 15 minutes of those episodes, it's everything you need, and then you move on.
Any of David Jaffe stuff? I'm just starting to watch his channel.
David Jaffe.
He's one of the designers from God of War. He streams like the first number of minutes of a lot of new stuff. He was on Fallen Order.
No, I follow him on Instagram, but no, I haven't seen his video content there.
It's newer. I think the last few months has been kind of going whole hog, but it's pretty good. I like it.
YouTube is where I'm at every day, dude.
Hey, you know what we should do?
Yes, sir.
We should take a pee break.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back. All right, folks, we are back, about ready to jump into the wonderful topic of entertainment, which you and I always could talk about for hours behind the bar.
Correct.
And because of this virus, things have been put on hold. Things are being shifted, but there's been a lot of fun announcements, amazing announcements. Let's talk about the Warner Brothers side first, brother. Let's talk about DC.
Yes.
Michael Keaton back as Batman.
Yes. Nicholas Cage possibly as
they
got to go full capeless.
Tim Burton.
I want that lit up weird costume that was made of plastic parts. Yeah.
Why not, man? Embrace the entire umbrella that was the creativity of Warner Brothers from the 80s all the way through, right? I mean, if Christopher Reeve was still alive, we'd have him be a part of this too, which is one of my favorite parts in Man of Steel, when Henry Cavill's character, his Superman, is trying to fly up into that terraforming machine, and his face is looking up, and just for a couple frames, it's Christopher Reeve's face, or it looks just like him.
There's one unfortunate thing for me about this possibility is this Flashpoint movie could incorporate some of these CW characters that I hate so much and make them relevant.
You're not about the 24 episode series
all the
anymore
love
on CW.
to Grant Gustin and Kevin Smith and the guys that are doing these Supergirl and CW stuff. I don't get it. Why there's that many episodes of this?
But this is how
that's how TV
This
used
is
to
how
be
TV
made.
used to be, but yeah. But
I know that there's 7,000 episodes of the Dick Van Dyke Show. There didn't need to be.
But can you see the things are shifting towards streaming because they are able to tell a deeper, more nuanced, more character-driven story, such as Doom Patrol, right?
Yeah, that's
because
still...
you love Doom Patrol. You were one of the guys that told me you got to watch Doom Patrol.
I like Doom Patrol. I don't love
Okay,
Doom
you like
Patrol.
Doom Patrol.
Yeah,
Pardon me. Yeah.
I like the Umbrella Academy. I don't love those things. You put those next to things like Lovecraft Country and Raised by Wolves and Boys, and they're not quite what...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But for what the CW is able to accomplish, I come from the Smallville days.
I loved it.
Smallville is one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
I stopped watching it at season 5.
Probably a good time to get out.
I have no idea what happened after season 5 of Smallville.
Probably a good time to get out. I stayed with it the whole way through. I wanted to see the end, and the ending is one of my favorite endings of all time for any TV show. But it wasn't depressing. It felt very satisfying, in particular because they used the John Williams music, which was pretty impressive.
Not the Remy Zero song?
No, the Somebody Save Me. No, not that one. Which, by the way, I always feel my heart skipping a beat when I hear that song because I'm like, oh, new episode of Smallville, here we go. Because I'd be waiting for it every week, every
time
Thursday.
I heard that song, I was like, they couldn't get the theme song from Rescue Me.
No, they did for like one of the episodes in the first season.
They used that song?
Yeah.
What was that? The Von Bondies? That's a great theme song.
No, is the one I'm thinking of is I Can't Stand to Fly.
No,
I'm not that naive.
No, that song's terrible.
Oh. Lighthouse. Lighthouse was the other band that was associated with Smallville
Was
that
it
blew up.
Lifehouse?
Was it Lifehouse? Lifehouse. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah, because they sang at their dance.
That was like episode 1, though. That was like the
finale.
Pilot.
It was the
was it season 1
the finale. It was season 1 finale.
Yeah. What a horrible era for music. That was
it worked for me, but I was back in my Mormon virgin days, so I'll take whatever I could get for slow dancing back then.
I was a musician in that era, and I was in like the punk rock and hardcore world, and we saw rock and roll come back. That's what we called it. It was just like, oh, the coked out rock and roll kids are back.
Got it. Well, a lot of that music was like
wearing really tight, low waisted jeans in the early 2000s.
Yep.
And did tons of coke.
One Direction, not associating them with cocaine, but One Direction was in a Smallville episode, and the whole episode was about Pete, the character Pete, coming back because he had been off the show for a while. And there was Stride gum that was shipped with the One Direction band, and he ate part of the Stride gum and it got exposed to kryptonite, so then he could like extend his limbs. So it was an entire like Stride gum One Direction commercial the whole episode.
Wow.
So that's the CW that you're talking about. The 22 episodes, they got to fit this stuff in. A little bit too bloated, old ways of doing things compared to the new ways.
Man. DC makes some interesting decisions.
Yeah. They have.
Yeah, I don't know. DC's DC.
Well, you don't sound too thrilled for the Flash film, but
I want to see.
But what do you want to see? What do you want to see in the multiverse? What do you want to see? What do you want to see
version
DC
of the multiverse?
In the DC version of the multiverse, and then we'll talk about the Zack Snyder Justice League Dark Side stuff. But what would you want to see in a Flash movie or this multiverse they're talking about?
I wouldn't really know what to say to that until I see the Snyder cut. I want to see that. I'm definitely on board with that. As much as like kind of the story isn't interesting to me with that, I like his filmmaking. Like
the visuals, yeah.
Yeah, his crappy movies are still watchable. Minus what's the one with a bunch of girls in skirts?
Sucker Punch?
Around with swords, yeah. That's not watchable.
I watched it.
Battlefield Earth good.
I guess because so many people ragged on it so much, and then I finally watched it, my expectations were so low that when I watched it, I was like, this was fine. I enjoyed it. It just felt like a bunch of video game cutscenes back to back to back.
I'd like to see Constantine show up. I heard a rumor that Keanu might agree to do his Constantine for that. For Flashpoint. That'd be cool.
Yeah, he said he'd like to, but yeah. But I loved what they were able to accomplish amidst
Shia LaBeouf's reanimated corpse show up.
John Constantine, asshole. I would love to have the the spirit of what DC was able to accomplish with all of the CW shows, all the shows, the Netflix show with Lucifer. So, I mean, having Constantine and Lucifer appear together on camera, even, you know, they shot it in an afternoon, made it happen. But it's because everybody that's involved with making these shows is like, yes, of course, let's work together. And it was fun.
That Batwoman wig could get its own scene.
I didn't watch Batwoman.
What's the guy's name from Prison Break that does the character from Legends and
Captain Cold,
Wentworth or whatever, Wentworth something. That is some choices.
Hey,
he's delivering the shit out of those lines.
For the CW. The number one thing that matters is how pretty are you, and then number two is how is your acting.
Go for it.
Yeah,
just go for it.
And they're like, go for it.
You've seen Gotham, right? Just go for it.
Just go for it. But you know what I loved about Smallville and Man of Steel, and this captures the spirit of Warner Brothers that I have felt on the outskirts, the gaming side, not 100% inside the theatrical, but working with a theatrical team to help promote BVS and during the Mortal Kombat days when we were doing the Pro League was awesome. But it made me appreciate what it means to be in the family. And Amy Adams is one of my favorite examples of that, is because she played a creature of the week in Smallville. And there was a doctor, I forget the doctor that he plays. I think it's the same doctor that's the Atom in the comics in Smallville.
Yeah, there's all kinds of repeat offenders. They do that across the board.
And there was the gentleman that played an older version of Lex in Smallville. We're all in Man of Steel. And it was just like, hey, you guys are part of the family. We're gonna keep working with you, keep pushing with you. And you feel that with Flash. The guy that plays the OG Flash from the 90s show, he's in today's Flash.
Dad,
yeah.
91, 92.
So to me, I feel that is one of the greatest type of examples of
specifically he
creating
wears
a family in the world of
red
art.
Costume. He wears the dad wears the red costume in Earth 91 because that's when the show aired.
Exactly.
Earth 91, yeah.
I think that's pretty goddamn cool.
That's a fun thing about DC, and Marvel's definitely biting that.
That's the thing. Like, you guys think that's fun with TV? Well, what if we do that with Sam Raimi Spider-Man and Mark Webb Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield?
Jamie Foxx is in.
Yeah, he's in as Electro.
Yeah. The worst villain, like in any.
Yeah, that was a bit of a tough watch. Just a lot of. I think I heard the rumor that they reached out to Kevin Feige with the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and with can you give us some notes? And Kevin Feige said, "You're not playing Electro right. You're playing him way too goofy. People are not going to empathize with this character. Like, this isn't going to work." He was 100%. He was 100% right.
100% right.
So imagine. You are now Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige was still powerful back then, but even more powerful now after creating the biggest franchise film has ever seen.
And he's smart. He knows that Jamie Foxx is awesome.
Exactly.
So let's play a different version.
And he made the same decision with J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, when I saw that film, when I saw Spider-Man Far From Home in theaters, and when I saw that actor who played J. Jonah Jameson perfectly in the Sam Raimi trilogy come back as J. Jonah Jameson, I went, yeah, that was the best decision to make, period.
Yeah.
And that's why we all have so much trust in Kevin Feige right now.
Yeah, he makes the right decisions almost every case. Like there's I'm always upset when I watch The Boys that what's his name? Butcher was kind of, I feel like he was wasted in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, behold,
Carl Urban. Like if Carl,
my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he was great. For Asgard, Dez and Troy, and he jumps and he shoots. He has a beautiful scene.
But he's just one of those guys I just want to see more of him. Like I would like some longevity if he's going to be here.
Scourge is his name, right?
Yeah, Scourge. He's the type I would like to see longevity.
I want a Dredd sequel, ladies and gentlemen. I know Carl Urban does.
They were talking about a series at some point.
Oh, that movie is one of my favorite action movies ever.
Very, very underrated.
Ever.
I mean, in nerddom, it's on a pedestal. We all know.
Yeah, but also
I don't think mainstream media, mainstream world doesn't really kind of get how high quality that is.
There's a good independent producer. I believe I pronounced his name Ari Shaffir. No, I think
Ari Shaffir is a stand-up.
He has a stand-up comedian. Yeah,
the skeptic.
The gentleman that I'm referring to creates something called the Bootleg Universe. It's on YouTube. He's made a number of independent films and independent things like Bootleg Power Rangers with Katie Sackhoff. He's done he did the Thomas Jane Punisher with I don't know if you've seen that, but it's with Ron Perlman.
As the Punisher?
No, Ron Perlman is a guy in a wheelchair at this laundromat, but it's Thomas Jane as the Punisher, and it's like a 12-minute short film that they had a whiskey company sponsor for them, or Jack Daniels sponsor for them. Anyways, I look at his stuff because he was one of the producers on Dredd, and he has a great YouTube video that breaks down how they were able to sell Dredd as a film, but why it's so difficult to get a sequel. And he just broke it down business-wise of trying to sell it for a sequel. And I always try to watch his content at least, or check in with his channel at least once a month or once a quarter, because I look at that as a blueprint of like, okay, if I have an independent idea that I'm 100% confident in, be it it's just an established comic book character or whatever, here's how I go about it to try to sell it. And it's really the international market, international distribution.
Who has the comic book rights to Dredd? Is that DC? Whose property is that?
No, I don't think it's DC. It's a separate comic entity.
Well, let's get a video game made. Finally.
Yeah. Well, there was a side-scrolling video game around the launch of the movie, but it wasn't.
You call your friends at DC, and we'll call Joseph Gordon-Levitt and get him involved.
Okay. Yeah. We'll hit record Joe. Joe, we're gonna do a video game. Let's get everybody together.
Well, he's the one advocating for that kind of. He's one of the people that are advocating for that kind of shift in the dynamic of media to make a video game as kind of the next generation, being the way we tell stories, which I'm totally behind because of how that culture is just the best. I mean, it's the most interesting. It's the most fun. People who don't play video games, I don't understand them.
Yeah. Or when they're like, "Oh, video games, it's so beneath me." I'm like, is reading a book beneath you?
If any property was right, it's the same thing. Like, you can create a new judge, and that's you. And then Dredd is your guy that kind of guides you through the game. You can put it on the rails. You can make it an open thing. There's all kinds of possibilities. It's a perfect property to turn into a game for
Mega City. I mean, we're in a bit of that dystopia cyberpunk realm with Cyberpunk coming out. So maybe after the success of Cyberpunk, developers will think, what IPs do we have access to that kind of fits this universe? Dredd would be a cool IP.
I think just like the weapons alone, just because it's one gun, you could just upgrade the one gun and alter that, or
hotshot. Yeah,
there's so many ways that could be a cool video game IP.
Yeah. Cyberpunk around the corner. I'm very optimistic. I'm looking forward to seeing the type of the next gen in encapsulating so much of the faster loading times, the 4K resolution, and to have a futuristic sci-fi game to show it off. It's pretty cool.
A story behind it.
With a story behind it is pretty cool. And I love The Witcher. And I had a friend of mine who was playing VR in Skyrim, and I joined him on SharePlay for a bit as we were catching up, and just watching him, kill stuff in the mountains and look around. I thought, dude, next gen with the VR capabilities and better pixels and whatever next fantasy game's got to come out, let alone sci-fi, but hooking that VR up, I'm going to get lost for hours doing that stuff.
Yeah, Sims too, like the Squadrons thing. Like I would love to see that on the next gen and through a VR setup on PS5.
Yeah, gaming is in a good spot overall. Just what's not in a good spot is everybody's economy, everybody's pocketbook to buy the systems and buy the games.
What's the one I sent you the text in the middle of the night? The Black Wukong thing, that 20 developer out of China.
Yeah, they used to be part of Tencent, but they left Tencent to make that. And
yeah, they put out that 15 minutes of gameplay, and what was like, I guess 20 developers got thousands of resumes to expand that team to get that game out. That's the first like AAA title coming out of China. Yeah,
outside of the Tencent development cycle. Yeah, pretty neat to see the leverage of people with the technology they have, especially with the Unreal Engine and the accessibility that they have. There's just the continual upscale of technology. The toughest part right now is to separate the wheat from the chaff. How do you find the games that are really, really good?
Nobody's had their eyes on Rage Engine yet for what will be GTA 6 either.
Dang, I haven't even thought really about GTA 6. I've spent a lot of time playing GTA Online over the summer, which is
finally got a podium car.
It's fun to build my own criminal enterprise. But they're building a standalone Grand Theft Auto Online client, and they have advertised within the consoles that if you play on PlayStation, you get $200,000 every week, up to $1 million every month. Maybe it's more, until they release the standalone version of Grand Theft Auto Online. I don't know what type of upgrades or additional features are going to add to it, but the idea of creating this sandbox of trying to build your own criminal enterprise, and it's like PvP versus PvE.
Well, it's very play to win or pay to win.
Yeah, that's
very much like Rockstar's getting greedy. That's a big complaint thing about.
Because if you're on a mission to try to make money in the game, then you get blown up by somebody randomly. It's like, oh great, well let me go buy a shark card for $10 because I just lost all that time.
And well, the lobbies for years have been filled with trolls.
Oh yeah,
and that whole and
grievers.
Well, they started the honor system where they started rewarding you for being a good sport or whatever, and they started creating.
It's only 2K every 30 minutes or something.
Yeah, and then they created like the bad sport lobbies. So if if somebody's in passive mode and you blow up their vehicle when they're in passive mode and they go into the casino or whatever, do like the sticky bomb tricks or whatever that the trolls do, that they would end up in lobbies that are trolls only. Yeah. So the guys that ruin whatever nightclub or motorcycle club enterprise you're into aren't there, but I literally every time I log in, there's just people who just come kill you.
They come kill you. Well, but part of the crazy excitement that I had playing the game was trying to escape these people. I remember I was on a flying mission and a guy was in an oppressor 2 and he was launching his missiles, but I was moving my plane and dodging every single missile, and I landed that plane and got that money. And it was one of the most satisfying experiences I had in a long time, probably because it was so goddamn stressful.
I would log in specific times of day because I knew that like what time of day I logged in, like if it was 4 in the morning after I got off of a bar shift, I could get certain things done because the kinds of trolls that were around weren't around during that time. But if you're at 8 p.m. Pacific, you know who you're going to run into in those lobbies. It's trolls.
Yeah. I still enjoy that multiplayer type of component of being on the edge. It reminds me of vanilla World of Warcraft, where we have the PvP on, going through enemy territory, and anybody could attack us, and we'd be outnumbered, but we still hold our ground. And
I got to show you some of the survival games map tricks to get through the 10 waves of survival. Like if you do the missile silo and some of the other ones, there's like post spots. Like for 2 people, I can get through 10 waves easy.
Oh, nice.
With like any weapons.
Nice. So are you going to get the PS5 first, Xbox Series X first?
I got a budget for both.
Yeah.
I mean,
why not?
Yeah. Like,
why not?
I'm that type. I collect all the consoles. I goof with all of it. I mean, I play much more Xbox than I play PlayStation, which is weird because PlayStation, I just know it's better. I've been with Xbox for so long. Between PS3 and PS4, I really didn't have one for some time. I had Xbox One. I have 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And it's just with Game Pass, those are the games I play. I spend less money, and with YouTube and seeing Twitch and seeing more of these videos out, I'm less apt to just buy a game now. I watch people play them first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have both. I mean, I have a Switch. I have everything.
There you go. There you go.
I still look for vintage consoles. Like
I found my Super Nintendo. It's in a box back behind me.
I'll take that with me when I leave.
No, I'm going to keep that.
What I want is when they repurposed the Commodore 64 into a cartridge console and it didn't sell, and then they all went back to Commodore and they took them back apart and turned them back into Commodore 64s. So they're so rare, you just can't find them. Mm-hmm. I can't even remember the name of it, but it was a cartridge-based gaming console that the Commodore put out during the 16-bit era.
What do you think of we have Miles Morales with Spider-Man coming out the next game. This Avengers game didn't do too hot. I didn't play it. I wasn't too excited about it just because of the nature of it. It's like, I don't know.
When I saw that game was coming out, I immediately thought to myself, like, there's no way you can realistically put the Hulk into a video game. Like, there's too many limitations. Like, this is, no, come on.
You're just going to be fighting robots, probably.
I don't think we're there technologically to make that kind of playable, you know? Like, I understand the Iron Man VR, like the PSVR, the Oculus, the game for the Iron Man where you just put your hands out and, like, that's cool. Like, Avengers, I don't see it. Spider-Man makes sense. Spider-Man's made sense for 20 years.
Yeah.
Since the first time you could web sling in 3D, like on PlayStation 1. Like, it's always made sense.
Yeah. It's the novelty of it was fun, but the loot system just wasn't working for the game. And now they have a problem with the amount of players that are just not there. So matchmaking to try to play the current Avengers game is not too hot right now. The same problem.
Is there an online presence for that? Is that actually?
Yeah, you have to be online to do a lot of the missions and stuff to get the gear that you want. But
is it mapped almost like Destiny to where it's
a bit? Yeah, for instances and whatnot.
Okay.
So it's just not working out too hot because players have been dropping the game. And it's really tough because if you design a type of game like that and your online audience is not there, the game doesn't function. We saw the same thing happening.
DC Universe Online.
Still a couple people that play the game, but the same thing happened to a game recently. What was it called? By BioWare. Anthem.
Oh, yeah, that was supposed to be a Destiny killer.
Yeah, that thing was dead on arrival.
Yeah.
Because people just stopped
Division
playing it.
2 was...
Ah, jeez, I never checked out Division 2.
I mean, it's fun, but
yeah,
nobody played it.
It was like they had really mapped out DC as a city to go through and stuff, but no, I didn't check it out either.
It was fun.
For those MMOs, I typically wait after launch because there's so many clunky things that happen at launch, or some systems or gear systems just aren't there yet. So I kind of wait and see what the critics have to say first.
Did you play Gears 5?
Yeah, I played through Gears 5.
It was okay.
It was okay. The story was all right. I just feel bad for Marcus Phoenix. Like, this dude is still fighting. Like, he's fought so many wars. That's all he's doing. Why can't he have a break?
It's weird. Outside of Zelda, I feel like I have no idea what's going on in any story in any of these games.
Well, Zelda.
Like, how does anybody who plays Destiny keep their head around the mythology?
I don't know.
Keep it even in order. Like, if with all those expansions and like what order you can play them in any order. So
I gave up when the Guardian was just some ball. Showed up.
All I know is that everybody wants to be an Exo hunter, and you still don't know who built the Exos or why. Right?
Still?
I think you don't know who built the Exos. I don't know. I can't figure out what's going on.
That's Nathan Fillion's character, right? Like,
oh yeah, Cade 6.
Yeah,
he's an Exo.
That's an Exo.
Yeah.
Weird. Well,
I know a couple characters' names, but I have no idea what's going on. I know like which kinds of villains I'm looking at sometimes.
Yeah. I'm like the guy from The Wire. I forget the actor's name.
I can tell when it's the Vex.
Yeah.
Because they look like they're shiny.
Yeah. And you got to shoot him in the stomach.
And then there's like the dark, evil characters that have like the white smoke around them that none of the weapons work on until you're leveled over 1,000 or whatever.
Jeez. Yeah, I haven't played Destiny in a while, dude. I liked, being able to go to different planets and the moon and stuff when the first one came out, but just doing those raids that were too complicated or took too much organizing to have fun. And if somebody made a mistake, then all the hours that you put in to set it up and go through it made no difference.
That's too much for me. Like, I'll do the fire team stuff, and if the fire team stuff doesn't match me with anybody, I'll just go solo.
Yeah, and I like playing solo most of the time.
But any good loot, if you're in it for the loot, like, you got to do raids.
True. I mean, I like cruising solo for most of the time, man. And if there's a way for me to do solo missions and gain some sort of currency, and that currency allows me to purchase what would typically, like, you can do a raid and get it and do it once, or you can do solo stuff and do it like 3 or 4 times and get the same thing. I'd rather do it solo, just because the coordination of working with people and the
if you're playing solo and you don't want to use your headset and your mic, just looming around kind of the public spaces where events happen and just get involved in public events without being involved is the best way to loot shit.
True. Well, in the world of video games, we got some fun titles to look forward to around the corner, at least keep us occupied for the winter. But most of these films that we've been looking forward to have been delayed, unfortunately.
It's going to be so much content, too, once it starts kind of unloading.
Yeah.
Right?
The next big thing coming from Marvel, I think, within the whole schedule or scope is WandaVision. Yes. Exactly. And I think the entire concept of what they're doing, even down to the title, is really creative.
This is exciting. Like, the cast is exciting. I don't know, from what we've seen.
Absolutely.
Everything about that just seems kind of like another piece of art.
I mean, you mentioned Dick Van Dyke, and it's going to exude this.
Yeah, I like the Roseanne reference in there. It's pretty obvious. I'm more curious about kind of if the speculation is true about maybe we'll see mutants start unfolding.
I think we will. I think we're going to see mutants as early as Shang-Chi. With Shang-Chi.
I think that's a guarantee, because the way the schedules shift around, it seems like Shang-Chi's kind of been locked in place. And the fact that it's locked in place and a tournament-style film tells us a little bit more than we should know, right? And then still getting WandaVision out on time, which I think was the thing for them, because I don't know if there's going to be mutants. Nobody knows if obviously there's going to be mutants in Black Widow. There's speculation. I speculated. Well, Omega Red, I think, is a gimme, I think, for Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think he's in the tournament.
Yeah.
I think he's in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I think we're going to see mutants in Falcon Winter Soldier. And I think we might see Ursa Major in Black Widow.
Okay.
Which would be cool, because there's a certain maybe Russian actor, like a bodybuilder character that they've cast that's in the cast list, and there's some.
Because technically, we were supposed to have seen Black Widow before we see WandaVision, right? Black Widow should have come out
supposed to be
this
last
summer.
May.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was May 8th, I think, was the release date, May 20th or something like that.
And that takes place after Civil War.
Yes.
Because it could set up stuff that happens in the I think about the espionage spy world of Captain America and Falcon and Winter Soldier and Black Widow and all that stuff, and maybe Ms. Pugh, who is the one of the Black Widows in the film, maybe she lives, maybe she dies, I don't know, but whatever continuation of a Black Widow character happens may be connected to Falcon and Winter Soldier, which would be cool.
You don't think they're doing a face-off?
No, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the espionage world. What I saw today...
There's like that one heavily scrutinized photo from the trailer that's like the face surgery looking kind of scenario where like they stuck... Because there's a hair color. There's hair color speculation with the two of them and where this falls between the red hair turning blonde or the blonde hair growing back out to red or whatever.
Yeah, because a lot of speculation when the... Not the greatest flavor.
Oh, is that delicious? Which one is that?
That's the apple one. No, what is this? The lime Rita?
You know it's good if you mistook lime for apple.
Yeah. Wow.
I assume it's just varying sugar.
Yep. I got to run a couple miles tomorrow after just that one drink.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the surprise. I think about the espionage realm of the spies, and then I think about the spiritualism, multiverse, Doctor Strange, Wong, all that stuff. And I think Shang-Chi deals with that.
I don't think Black Widow's excuse me, going to apply to the multiverse almost at all.
No. I think it sets up a couple of people that will be under the tutelage of Nick Fury in the future. I think it's setting up that next level of people under his wing, while Doctor Strange is the leader of the mysticism, universe, multiverse type stuff.
If I had to guess, I would guess that the government's going to say no to Sam being Cap because of Civil War, and they're going to give it to U.S. Agent, and then it's going to turn out that U.S. Agent is working for some sort of weapons program. There's some sort of corruption that's going to lead to the Thunderbolts or whatever, and I think Black Widow is going to tie to that, in the sense that the Red Guardian is the Russians' attempt at theft of the weapons project, which it all ties together to the weapons project, which leads to Wolverine, which is kind of the centerpiece to the universe that'll follow Spider-Man.
Ooh,
like Cap being Weapon 1 and Wolverine being Weapon 10, Weapon X. Yeah.
Shoot. I mean, if they're going that deep comic,
and then you throw WandaVision in, her dad being Magneto, we can start to tie kind of those threads together towards the mutant world unfolding.
So do you think that she will make the mutants manifest at the end of WandaVision because there's a bit of a mirror to what she did in the comics by saying no more mutants? Now maybe she could open the multiverse and now the mutants are here, or have they been here all the time? That's just
her dad is Magneto, and that's got to happen. So I mean, who knows? Like, and there's also they're talking about bringing the other version of Quicksilver over in the multiverse, which would be cool.
It would.
The one from the Fox X-Men series.
But I think he's maybe playing. I heard he may be playing another character though. I don't know if that's true, but that's what some speculation was saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I think in terms of how mutants happen, or kind of like whether we see it or not, because there's always kind of Cerebro. Like, they could always be here and we don't know it because somebody put on Cerebro and made us not know it the entire time.
Dang. I mean, there could be a lot of ways to explain it.
That's also the Sentry's power. Like the Sentry, when they wrote him into every event, but his power is that you forget about him.
Do you think the catalyst would have to be within the story of the MCU of this 5-year skip, the blip, whatever I forget what they called the blip, the snap, all that stuff, because of the trauma of all of that. It's more of like, wow, we went through all of this. Now we're going to come out. Now we're going to expose who we are. Do you think that's going to be kind of the underlying reason why mutants were hidden, or There's
mutants mutants have to be relevant.
Yes,
it's so important that story is relevant to right now and relevant to how civil rights operate.
Because we don't want it to be secondary to the MCU, right? We want to incorporate it.
I mean, it's what made it such a popular enterprise. I mean, there's so like we were even saying out there, what are we going to do with Storm now that Chadwick has passed, and we have to. Storm is such an important part, so important, and. Do you write her into the royalty of Kenya? Do you write her into the story where she becomes like the ruler of the Morlocks? Like, where do you put her in her timeline? Does she already have powers? Like, so confusing with the X-Men and how to think about the way it goes. I think they've hinted at the weapons program. So we know Wolverine has to exist already, and Wolverine has to have his powers already because it's from the 1800s or the late 1800s when he's born as James
Howlett.
James Howlett.
Would you recast or try to keep the same cast
with X-Men characters?
Yeah.
I would recast. I would 100% recast.
Okay.
You know who I like for Cyclops, and I think Cyclops should be a very differently written character now than he was before.
Yeah.
Like, you read modern day Jonathan Hickman's version of that character and that devotion to like the cause of what they're doing for fighting the inevitable future. Like, I don't see anybody but Armie Hammer playing Cyclops, but that's just in my head.
Sure. Well, but could there be some sort of homage or tribute to the previous incarnations of X-Men, both the First Class and the Bryan Singer, within the multiverse, where they can have a proper, you are connected to us, but within the MCU universe, these are the different actors that play them. You know?
I mean, you could just wish list that. Like, which one would you want to see? Like, Nightcrawler from X2, hands down, is my number one for that. That was the coolest thing. That first scene from the attempted assassination on the president from X-Men 2, X-Men United. Yeah, absolutely. Let's have him.
I think that's what the whole sentiment of Hollywood is, of like, let's honor what these people did to get us here.
Yeah.
And both the Warner Brothers team and the Marvel team were like, yeah, because that's going to get everybody into the theaters.
You heard about the contract offer with Ryan Reynolds as being kind of like a thread? That's the speculation. But they offered him basically like, you have to appear in a lot of fucking movies for this deal to work.
I heard him, not necessarily in the movies, but more of like to be more of a thread through Disney Plus. That they signed Ryan Reynolds to be kind of a talking head on the Disney Plus platform and to pop up in a lot of different stuff because Disney is pivoting to digital.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I'm hearing kind of like Deadpool as a character, a fourth wall kind of
breaking character and popping up in a lot of stuff.
Stan Lee replacement, basically, like using Deadpool to replace Stan Lee.
I haven't heard to that extent, but I'm for it, just as long as it doesn't detract from the full tone of the film, which the Stan Lee cameos never did, because it made sense in the homage to what he does. But for comedic effect, like especially when you have quick cutaways to crowds or people reacting to a situation, and if one of the cutaways was Deadpool just reacting to whatever, I'm down for sure.
Totally in.
I think the beauty of Deadpool is using him. Well, I think with any character, obviously using him appropriately.
We're gonna see more varied tone now that this whole kind of encapsulated.
I hope so.
That last phase setup is done. Like, I think they very consciously moved the Eternals closer to kind of Oscar season, because I think they're actually kind of thinking that
they're going to try to go for it
a bit artsy.
Okay.
So I think that movie might be more than we were expecting.
What do you think is going to be the core of the Eternals? Just to show how far back Earth and shit is connected beyond Thanos? Or
I think they're going to use some backstory to basically create possibilities.
Okay.
That we can't question, because here's how kind of limitless the possibilities are in the MCU.
Because Captain Marvel felt like more of a world building movie, to build the world more of the Kree and the Skrulls and
that's what they did at the end of Far From Home too. It was like that kind of thread that's going to be the next Captain Marvel phase.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Shannon, and my wife, she didn't even realize that there was going to be like other Guardians of the Galaxy after that group of Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, there's been a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, Stallone was before
the OG, and you get to see that
Starhawk,
group, which is awesome.
Yeah, that was so cool. So it's going to be fun seeing, Warlock and Nova.
Yeah, Adam Warlock is teased. You see his cocoon, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
James Gunn is having such a field day, man. I mean, he was able to...
Such a good writer, of course.
Absolutely.
Let him do it.
And he responds to me on Twitter when I ask questions. And the last question that I asked him was, how do you balance between, or how do you deal with notes from the studio, and if you want to fight against the notes, how do you tackle that? And he broke down like, well, I really haven't had that many instances where a studio says I have to change stuff.
If you
he broke it down,
just that pile of skulls, how many Easter eggs are hidden in the pile of skulls in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, like with Bird Brain and all the different kind of secret characters that he snuck in there. When people from the studio see that, they just go, oh yeah, this guy's good. Do whatever you want. You're fine. He gets it.
Yeah. Well, and behind the scenes, that whole debacle, which was just ridiculous, of him being judged based off of tweets back in the day, back when Twitter was used by gamers. That's what it was used for. Just a bunch of people that were playing video games, trying to get their name out there, and comedians and whatnot pushing stuff out. Twitter has definitely changed. The platform definitely changed, especially in the Trump era.
I've basically dipped my toes in the water of Twitter throughout the last decade and backed out immediately every time.
That's nothing wrong with that.
I don't find any joy out of using it. Like, I mean, if I only follow really good stand-up comedians and there's just jokes,
yeah, those are great.
That would be it.
Jim Gaffigan for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it to me was a different era when I really took it on, because it was one of the greatest ways to share your business card.
Yeah.
It'd be like, hey, what's your Twitter? Boom, boom, boom.
Because now it's everybody talking about themselves on LinkedIn.
Yeah, or so many different things. But back when we were using it, it was, how can I watch your latest YouTube video? Or you have another blog, or you're going to be streaming live here pretty soon.
Blogspot era.
Yeah, I would check out their Twitter, because that was like whatever was important to you, it would be pushed out at that time. But again, this is back when I followed like 13 people and I had 30 followers. I mean, this was infant stages of Twitter.
GeoCities.
GeoCities, that's right. But the nature of social media has changed in and of itself, and it's also changed the crazy dynamics that we're in. I hope that one of the things in Hollywood that has changed, because Hollywood is now becoming more and more decentralized, with people leaving LA, and even myself having a production studio up here, but people filming so much in Georgia and Atlanta, or
just north. The CW is just above us.
Vancouver. That's right.
White North.
To show how powerful it is to decentralize that type of content and to build that audience, because that is like, there's a double-edged sword of social media. The bad part is you're going to have bullies, and people are going to say whatever they want to say, and it's going to hurt your feelings. Yes, your feelings will be hurt by strangers. That's part of the nature of it. But there's so much benefits to it, to push your own content, to build your own audience, to have a direct connection to your own audience. And people would have killed for that 30 years ago.
People are kind of sensitive about just feelings. I don't know. I don't get this.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because some days I'm like, come on, Twitter's not real. Let's get over it. But then other days you're like, but a human being wrote that.
I remember when I looked at Facebook when they announced the name of the Seattle Kraken.
Uh-huh.
And then, I mean, obviously the crack house jokes are everywhere. But then I started seeing like a number of people saying, hey, before you make jokes about crack houses, and they started listing crack statistics. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You're getting out there and just like telling people to not make jokes ahead of time now?
Yeah. And that's what it's become. Just every single different type of viewpoint and different things coming at you. So it's still tough for me, because some days I just dismiss it. I don't really count it into the normal psychosis of a person. But then other days, I've been dragged on Twitter before, and it fucking sucks. You're thinking about it all day like you did something wrong, but you didn't. But people are taking your name or your Twitter handle and just dragging you or saying stuff about you that's not true. You just have to breathe and hold on. Because
it'll be done in a second.
Yeah,
and hold on. If you don't respond, it'll be over with in 3 minutes when they focus on somebody else.
Hold on to something real, and I think about Abraham Lincoln. I think about a story of him when he wrote this letter to somebody that he was super pissed off at. Then he took the letter and put it in the fireplace.
Everybody was so mad at Kramer like a minute ago. And we're fine. We're all fine now.
So to let that stuff go.
Yeah.
So it's a process, but a lot of the anger that I had in the political realm, I definitely would lash out on Twitter and respond and stuff. But it felt like because I have a blue check mark, I had a little bit of power, or at least my words meant something a little bit more than just the normal tweet. But then I'm like, no, it's the internet. It's not the same thing as being in real life. I mean, nothing is going to take place in real life.
We can obviously recognize that it's nuanced. Like everything is within context, and sometimes
we're trying to figure out the proper context and weight of social media as a whole upon the human species.
We as a society have a bar that we just set in random places depending on where we are, and sometimes it's right here, and sometimes it's right here. And if it's right here, a comedian's going to walk up to it and kind of poke it.
Yep, which they should. They're the court jester. They need to help us know where the boundaries are.
Sometimes that doesn't work, and it falls flat. Sometimes it's too far, and we get to judge because it's we're smart people. Everybody's good and smart people.
But that's the art form of it for sure.
But the idea that we need to get out ahead of it and tell people like what's off limits is a little bit weird because it's if you think about it, it's normally going to whoever's saying what's off limits, it's usually off limits as to what applies to them. Like, I've met people who were like, an AIDS joke is funny, but an eating disorder joke is not funny because they had an eating disorder. So, okay, where's your line? Pick a line, or we share a line.
Yeah.
And we can't get out there and just attack people ahead of time before they can even make a joke.
There's so much.
I say particularly jokes because I think it's important for them to push up against that societal wall that we set.
And tone and body language is crucial in delivering that joke that sometimes cannot be executed as well in the written form, especially on Twitter and the limited amount of characters.
Yeah.
And it's the nuance. I mean, nuance is such an important word in so many facets for today's culture. And to really understand that more of us have more in common and are striving for the same things than to the contrary.
But we like to flip each other's shit.
But we like to flip each other's shit. And that's something as bartenders.
That's what we do.
That I was comfortable with because people would warn me like, oh, Matt's an asshole. I'm like, well, I think good bartenders have a little bit of an asshole in them.
I called you New Kevin.
Yeah.
That wasn't even,
But you have to roll with the punches and deal with it and get better at shit, So
how I used to talk to Keith when I came into work was just, I loved it. Did you meet Keith? You worked with Keith,
right?
Yeah,
Keith and Nicole, yeah.
Like I would walk up
Keith's
to him and
just
straight faced, like, "What's up, you fucking nerd?" And he would get the biggest smile on his face and just not be able to restrain himself from laughing because I was just fucking just so mean to him. But it was over the top, so it was obviously.
But the over the top because you can tell it's over the top.
Yeah.
That you are doing it in a way of bonding. Of like, hey, we're about ready to hit the shit against some customers.
Yeah, he would just walk by
let's have a moment.
He'd walk by and be like, oh, I forgot my pen. I'm like, why? Because you're a piece of shit. Fuck.
And then be like, yes, no. But it puts a smile on your face because you understand where the humor's coming from.
I mean, within any
But
industry,
if you wrote that in a tweet, people are like, well, fuck you, this asshole, blah, 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 blah.
Well, it's not funny on paper.
No, exactly. Yeah. Nuance is important. And I have to remember that, oh, wait. I shouldn't tweet this out. It's not funny on paper.
Bag of dicks is always funny.
Yeah.
Have you followed Richard Marx like that? I see those because those tweets cross genres into other. Like I see Richard Marx get retweeted on Instagram.
Oh, geez. I want to talk about Shang-Chi because martial arts is a part of my life. I grew up doing martial arts. It's one thing that I miss currently in my life, but yoga has helped me stay fit for sure. What I have heard so far about this story is that it's like a Mortal Kombat tournament.
You say Mortal Kombat when the rest of us say Bloodsport, but go ahead.
Sure. Mortal Kombat's based off of Bloodsport, but yeah, 16 people, but the different people are different characters that you will find in Marvel Comics.
And some wild characters. I heard WizKid maybe.
I've heard WizKid. I've heard Wong from Doctor Strange is going to be there. And I thought, if there's one film, if there's one genre that we haven't seen.
With 6 arms, the blonde lady?
Starts with an S.
I'm spacing that one. Obviously, Omega Red.
Yeah, Omega Red. But they're technically mutants.
Mm-hmm.
But you think about where does Marvel go in order to create films that are different from what they've done? From the espionage thrillers of the Captain America to the character studies of Iron Man to the fun sci-fi romps of Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, we've seen a lot of different genres.
You got to describe some crappy ones because you were so eloquent there. You got to do Thor 2.
Yeah, I'm like, or we have the misfires like Thor 2.
Yeah. Talk about the Inhumans for a while now.
Do we even count it?
It exists.
Okay,
that's what we'll say about the Inhumans.
It had an IMAX premiere.
Yeah, they made that decision. Shang-Chi.
But the tone of a martial arts tournament.
God bless it. What a great idea. Yeah. What a great idea.
Enter the Dragon. Let's do it. So, in the spirit of such a tournament, which characters would you like to see fight if you could organize your own tournament in this realm?
Number one, Van Damme's got to play somebody, and it's got to be a secret. Like, they can't tell us, but fucking Van Damme's got to play somebody in this movie.
If I was in charge of Mortal Kombat, I would do one more combat pack, and it would feature a skin for Johnny Cage, but it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. And they've done premium skins in the past. Anyways.
I had an idea for a freeware kind of fighting game that was just rotoscoped Van Damme characters fighting other Van Damme characters.
Time Cop and...
Yeah. Double Impact.
Double Impact, yeah.
Mr. California. That's what one of them says to the other.
His victory has to be one of those dance moves. What's
Mr. Black Silk Underwear?
That dance move that he does.
That's in Kickboxer.
Is it Kickboxer?
His dance moves? Yeah. That dance scene, they get him drunk in Kickboxer for that.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about Hard Target, the one where he's got a mullet and Wilford Brimley's a moonshiner.
That's a John Woo film, too.
Yeah.
He punches a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
I almost want to watch that after this.
What a great movie. Like, it's about fucking what's his name that was supposed to be Terminator hunting people? The guy from Alien? Or Aliens?
Yeah. He was in the show Millennium. That
Henriksen.
Guy. Lance Henriksen.
Lance Henriksen
there we
was
go.
Like hunting people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what a great
Hard
movie.
Target. Yeah. Oh, I remember that metal arrow they shoot, and he just turns his cheek and it flies right past him.
Yeah, his mullet's whipping in the wind.
Shit, man, we have to watch that after this. Yeah. So anybody with Jean-Claude Van Damme, but who else?
Yeah, anybody. I want him to be Omega Red.
Okay. I am Omega Red. It's like you're supposed to be Russian, not French. I am Belgium.
Yeah, I don't know if it comes down to like minor characters. I mean, do you think they're going to give us anybody major?
Wong from the Sorcerers to see them. I
mean, maybe surprise us with a kid. Like give us a Squirrel Girl or a Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur thing.
Yeah, or Whiz Kid or something like that. I think we'll see just a cadre of different characters that belong in different bubbles in the MCU. Like, I think we'll see a Black Widow. I think we'll see... maybe somebody from S.H.I.E.L.D. The beauty about it is like if there's a great way to introduce characters that you're going to care about for multiple films would be to showcase them in a tournament.
Well, yeah, who's the female lead? The female lead is one of the tournament fighters, right? In Shang-Chi.
I'm not sure.
I can't remember what the character is.
I can't remember. But they also have talked about the Mandarin, the real Mandarin.
The real Mandarin, yes.
The conspiracy behind that, trying to get these rings.
And then Fing Fang Foom.
And Fing Fang Foom the dragon.
Yeah.
So after the Gauntlet, after the Infinity War, you think about, okay, the universe is now settled.
Well,
but
we know
there's
the next
other mystical
Endgame.
stuff.
We know Battle World is where we're going. Like
Secret Invasion or...
Secret Invasion will happen, but that's
Okay.
not Battle World. Secret Wars is Battle World. That's the Beyonder. Secret Invasion they'll probably pack into Captain Marvel.
I'm not as familiar with what happens after this in the realm of comics.
Okay. Well, they've done Battle World twice. They've done
Okay.
Secret Wars twice. Once in the 90s. I have those series too. I have the Toy Biz covers version of that. And then a more modern Secret Wars where basically all the different realities, pieces of them all become one planet and become Battle World, and Doctor Doom is God and Doctor Strange is the sheriff, and
Jeez.
There's Thors from multiple realities as the police force. It's the Thor Corps, basically female and male Thors, including.
Awesome. That's another title I'm so excited for is Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah,
The Taika Waititi
that was the best one out of all those movies.
creativity, his vision, Did you see Jojo Rabbit?
Yeah.
Dude, I cried.
Great movie.
The moment when you see Sam Rockwell and his
also wasted.
partner.
Such a bummer.
But that moment.
I want him in every movie.
That moment when he was in the final fight and he gets to wear his costume he'd been working on for forever. There was so much joy that just exuded from me in that moment. And it reminded me why cinema and actors and character and putting a story together is so much fun.
It's always fun to see a filmmaker with like an individual vision. Like you can like point out, oh, that's one of his movies.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, they come out every number of years. You get your Wes Andersons and you get your Tim Burtons, and now we have a Taika Waititi. And he
took on the role of Adolf, but his monologue that he had towards the end when he's telling the kid, and he's just like, talk about the Allies, they come into the lairs of wolf, and I was getting kind of like, holy shit, like this is getting scary type thing. But from just the whole context of the character, the controversy of like, you shouldn't be showcasing Nazis, like, no, we should be making fun of Nazis until the day we die so we stop fascism at its source. It was just, to me, just a very fascinating lesson on telling stories and not being afraid of what critics think you shouldn't be talking about.
Very much.
It was great. So if you haven't seen Jojo Rabbit, see it.
Absolutely. And Hunt for the Wilder People.
And Hunt for the Wilder People. I haven't seen What They Do in the Shadows, or What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Movie?
I haven't seen the movie nor the show yet.
Oh, wow. You got to watch that.
I do.
Yeah, he's too good.
But Taika also did great in Mandalorian.
Yeah, that was probably the best episode, too. The one that he directed. He directed the season finale.
Yeah. With
that
the
was
IG
my favorite
show.
episode.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that season, dude.
God, that was hit or miss, though. No offense to you Star Wars folks out there, but that show, there was definitely duds in there. It's a great show.
Some
it's cool.
episodes, but I think there was just kind of like, hey, this episode is about us testing the limits of the technology. We'll see what it can do out of our stagecraft thing that we built from scratch using the Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
I hope it's good. It's weird with Star Wars for me. It's just like, oh, I hope. Fingers crossed. You never know.
Well, I think being a Star Wars fan is like being in an abusive relationship.
Yeah, it's like being Catholic or something. Yeah, I'm Catholic. Yeah. I got a fucking Yoda fucking baby now. Yeah, it's fucking the guy with another helmet.
Damn.
They have red ones now. Yeah. Some of it's just like, oh, it's dumb.
Now, any leadership decisions made under the leadership of Kathleen Kennedy and all the story people at Lucasfilm?
Not a
Pablo,
fan.
Not Pablo Francisco. No, he's a wonderful stand-up comic. Pablo, I can't remember his last name, but he.
Oh, you're talking about Mandalorian himself?
No. I'm talking about the people that are in charge of the story group for Lucasfilm.
Oh, what's his name? Hidalgo.
Yeah. No, I don't know why they still have a job.
Yeah.
I don't. I respect them and what they attempted to do, but no.
I'm not a big fan of what she attempted to do. I don't think she understands Star Wars. Like, somebody understood it enough to spend that much money to where that company, I mean, the company's already operating in debt. It's always operated in debt.
Yeah.
But understood enough value there to pay that much money for that. I can't even remember what the price was. It was fucking too much money for Star Wars.
Over $4 billion, which in comparison, the other entity that was sold for roughly the same amount of money was the UFC.
The smartest thing that they've done at all is make a full-size Millennium Falcon that people can walk on at Disneyland. Mm-hmm. That's like the smartest decision they've made. Mandalorian's pretty good. Let somebody come in and tell an interesting story for once.
Even Mark Hamill wanted a Mara Jade story.
They should have, yeah. Nothing about those, like, the first movie doesn't make any sense of that trilogy. Like,
Force Awakens?
Like, everything just kind of happens to happen.
Yeah.
Like, for no reason. Like, everything is just, you stumble through that movie accidentally. And then the next one is just like a guy who's never seen Star Wars made a Star Wars movie that rips off Battlestar Galactica completely.
I think what Rian Johnson did with Knives Out was great. That's
a great movie.
I think what Rian Johnson did with The Last Jedi is a travesty and one of the worst films ever made.
I agree with you. Yeah, Knives Out's awesome.
And how can Rian Johnson, the same guy that's responsible for Knives Out, be responsible for The Last Jedi? The difference is Kathleen Kennedy. The difference is Lucasfilm. The difference is people that do not understand what made Star Wars Star Wars. And if you need any other evidence, look at their work. Period. Look at how fractured the Star Wars community is today.
Yeah, bringing everything that we love and kill it in front of us and give us just like this forced fucking woke stuff.
Yeah.
Like, no offense to woke, but come on, man. Like, you can tell a story and just tell a story and put people of different colors in those roles as long as it's the story, you know?
Well, and John Boyega even called him out with the fake wokeness that it was. Like, how can you cast somebody that's a person of color and put him at the forefront of your film with the promotional campaigns and then really do nothing with him?
Very much. And he was the most interesting character coming out of the gate in that first movie. That's the story. That's the thread we should have followed as the audience. They took a shit on all of it.
There's so much magic between him and Finn with the escape scene. And there's magic between him and Rey with a bit of the romanticism. But the overall escaping from brainwashing that you've been through your entire life is quite a captivating story. And they did nothing with it.
No.
Yeah, it is a travesty, the sequel trilogy. And one of the reasons why I left Los Angeles, some of the rumors that I heard behind the scenes was that the reason why C-3PO had a red arm in The Force Awakens, which was like a throwaway line, was the same approach that J.J. Abrams and the Bad Robot folks had with Star Trek, was let's change at least 25% of it so that we can own the rights for the merchandise.
So Bad Robot could have their...
So Bad Robot could then have the proceeds that they want for the merchandise going forward with the new Star Wars characters.
The new red stormtroopers.
The new C-3PO with a red arm and stuff. And people were like, where did you get evidence about that? And I go, you look at what they did with Star Trek. It's written in the contracts, 25% difference with the Kelvin timeline so that the Bad Robot people get the merchandise rights and the money coming in.
They didn't merchandise that Star Trek shit, did they?
They tried, but it didn't sell.
Yeah, nobody's going to buy
Just
that.
like the Star Wars toys for the sequel trilogy did not sell.
The cheaper stuff, like the stuff that kids buy, like
the kids, you know, a lot of Kylo Ren stuff sold.
Yeah, and a lot of those little tiny, you know, the little puzzle, like the random stuff, the little figures that kids collect that they tag on their backpacks, like the keychain stuff, where it's you collect all 6, but it's a box that you don't.
And
know
Lego
what you
Star
get.
Wars sold well.
Yeah, I have some of that stuff. I definitely have some Lego Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, it was not honoring the source material. And
no, it really just made me not care about Star Wars.
And then people would be like, oh, you're complaining about it. That means that you're either a white supremacist or you're a basement-dwelling nerd. I'm like, no, I'm somebody who bought Star Wars stuff yearly since I've been like 5.
Yeah.
A typical Star Wars fan.
Why was there no mention of Kenobi anywhere in that whole trilogy? Not a fucking... No love given to Kenobi.
Well, they named Kylo Ben.
It's fucking throwaway. That's totally throwaway.
But you hear Ewan McGregor and Obi-Wan's voice to Rey saying these are your first steps when she has that first vision after touching the lightsaber. But that's it. That's the only reference to Kenobi that you have.
Didn't they cut out like most of that?
Dude.
Like there's like 40 minutes of footage from that last act.
If you and I had J.J. Abrams sitting right here, he would tell you the fucked up shit
I heard
they cut out of his...
a fucking ton out of the third act. Like most of Kylo Ren's story got cut out.
Yeah. Well, that whole sequence at the end when Rey says, "Be with me," and I feel for Daisy Ridley. I feel for all of those actors because they're very talented. And
they had to say some dumb shit.
They had to say some dumb shit.
Some movies just aren't very good.
But she, when she's doing that incantation of "be with me," and you start to hear all the different Jedi, they were supposed to show up. What I had heard through my channels, and I don't know if this is true or not, so take it with a grain of salt, but that because the Chinese market is superstitious and doesn't allow any ghosts to appear in any of their films, they could only allow Luke Skywalker, who was edited to have a specific blue hue to pass the Chinese censorship markets, and they had to cut out all the other Force ghosts in order for the film to release in China.
Oh, we're seeing that more and more, too.
South Park said it best with one of those episodes, man, when you have the Chinese editor...
Dude, it's banned in China. It's called Banned in China. It's like the funniest episode of that season.
Yeah.
When fucking Stan starts his grindcore band.
Yep.
Fucking Butters does the backing vocals.
Had to change the lyrics and stuff when you see the propaganda agent pacing back and forth behind Stan. And then Stan even says, now I know how it feels to be a writer in Hollywood during that. Yeah, it's true. It's look at Mulan. That
I'm not
movie,
gonna watch that.
it bombed,
Yeah.
dude. It didn't. It bombed because people were like, "Wait a second, this is the same province where they're doing the concentration camps of these Muslim people in China, the Uyghurs." Yeah, I don't want to be a part of this. Plus, they cut out music and shit like that. Like that was the same issue.
Yeah, didn't they cut that down to only a couple of songs, like 2 or 3?
I don't even know if they sing any songs.
I don't remember if I've even seen the original. I know Eddie
The
Murphy was
original
like
is
the voice of the
amazing.
dragon, right?
Donny Osmond is the one who sang for the general.
You're a Mormon. You love that Osmond.
I grew up with that shit. Yeah.
Did you see the Osmond Boys when you were a kid?
No.
When they toured through elementary schools?
No, but it was weird because
They tried to do like a New Kids on the Block thing.
yeah, but people told us about the Osmonds.
I saw the Osmond. I grew up because Twin Falls is a pretty Mormon town.
But they would show up at like a missionary event and they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm glad I served my mission because my wife is so hot." And then the missionary training center is like, "We're not going to invite the Osmond brothers
they
back
came to
anymore."
our public school because that's allowed in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Jesus.
Like insane Mormon propaganda throughout the public school system.
You know what's
in
funny?
Idaho.
You know what's funny? The more religious the states, the higher the COVID cases are. The higher the COVID cases are.
Yeah.
Ignorance.
Well, Arizona's not super religious, but they just blame everything on California. Like they're just like, as long as we keep Californians out, we'll be fine. And then they just die of COVID and blame California.
Yeah. Well, that's what Texas is trying to do now. They're like, don't bring your California politics over to Texas. Like, hey, I hear you, Texas. But whenever you mention regulation, I think about Flint, Michigan, and why we have to have regulation. Because
I love the idea of explaining how America works to Americans.
our education system sure failed us.
Like they don't even know the difference between public and private land. Like you're not allowed in Texas, but they're allowed to not wear a mask in Target, right? Like one of these is private, one of them's public. So why don't you wave your flag at home?
It's crazy, dude. It's really been such an expose of what our country really is all about, especially to the rest of the world. We can't go to Canada. The border is closed because we have such a crazy number of cases right now.
That, and I don't think they want us there anyway. I don't think just Canadian people want to see your Washington license plate rolling around Vancouver.
Nope.
No, they don't.
Even funny enough, when I talked to my agent years ago when I first moved here and I signed up with them, I asked, so what's it like to book shows up in Vancouver and to be part of those productions in Portlandia and stuff like that? And they said, if you're friends with the actors or the production crew, great. But if not, probably not going to happen unless you live in Vancouver because they're not going to want to bring somebody up here and have to go through the paperwork of paying them
it's a union
outside.
gig for them too there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought, damn.
I mean, the X-Files operated that way years ago.
Smallville took over after that. Yeah. Vancouver.
Supergirl and The Arrow and Flash are all there.
They're all up there.
They're all up there.
Yeah. It's cheaper to film, but it's a healthy ecosystem for people up there. So I get it. And I'd love to go visit. And if I can find something that clicks into place to produce or be involved in a production up there, sure, I'd love to. I'd love to check out Vancouver more.
You better get your computer out and fucking write an episode if that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, the one episode I have written for is actually for Harley Quinn, the animated show. Have you watched that show at all?
No.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good.
How old is that character? Didn't that come from the animated series?
Yeah, but this is Kaylee Cuoco's version. And have you ever watched Venture Brothers?
Yes.
It's like that, but with DC characters. And they swear and kill people and shit like that. It's crazy. Alan Tudyk plays the Joker, and he plays Clayface. And Clayface is always like the super thespian trying to be in these different roles and shit.
I'm cool with Alan Tudyk, but okay, I'll check it out.
It's 10 out of 10.
I mean, really I watch a lot of the DC animated stuff because I do like their animated films, but I'm really not a Harley Quinn fan. It's just more of an annoying character than anything.
Well, Kaylee Cuoco does a phenomenal job with this character, but it's not the show doesn't just rest on Harley Quinn. Like it's her relationship with Poison Ivy, Bane, the whole villain of Legion of Doom, the theme song for the Legion of Doom. If I had the budget to put together an animated show, it would be something like this with the comedic reins. It's genius. And it's made by the guys that made the Batman animated show. The animated series back in the 90s.
I definitely wish Doom Patrol would have kept Elongated Man into that property because that's Flash uses him. I really have a hard time struggling. I'm struggling with DC because it's wading through a lot of weird bad stuff to get to the good stuff, because it all feels like melodramatic and not written well in so many cases. Doom Patrol's awesome because it's interesting characters.
Yeah. But you're talking about the, like, you're talking about the CD stuff, the CW stuff.
I've powered through the Constantine, the Hellblazer or whatever. What was it called? Was it called Constantine or Hellblazer?
It's Hellblazer. Hellblazer is the...
And they kept that guy on to be the animated voice, which I like his kind of version of Constantine. It's like, it feels like what it was when you read the comic book, when you read old Hellblazer comic books, or the crossover stuff, because Lucifer crossed over and Sandman.
Yeah.
But Sandman's a good property. They should fucking pull that out.
Well, they're doing it.
They did the
Netflix
Audible thing. They cast it yet?
Yeah, they're in the midst of casting it right now. They've also...
I thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt had his hands on that property forever.
Well, Neil Gaiman had discussed the reasons why they had chosen certain characters to be a different gender within the casting.
Oh, they're switching Morpheus gender?
I don't know if it's Morpheus, but I'm not sure which characters because I'm not familiar with the Sandman narrative. But I do remember seeing headlines about that with Neil Gaiman, talking about why they were choosing different genders for different characters and some of the excitement he had for the Netflix series and what that was about. It's on my list of comics to read. Right now, I need to go through The Long Halloween, because that's what the Batman is going to be based off of. I feel the Batman...
partially, right? Because it's supposed to be like a Court of Owls story, too.
I think it's that, a Court of Owls mixed with the film tone of The Godfather and Seven.
Yeah, the Riddler side of it is supposed to be kind of a Seven-ish.
Yeah, the Riddler's trying to expose this corruption, and the Godfather side of it is the
if the movie gets done, didn't they kick him off set or something like that last week? Isn't he a skinny Steve now? He decided to do cocaine instead of push-ups.
Yeah. That's some of the behind-the-scenes chatter I'm hearing is Robert Pattinson.
That's the soft way of wording it.
He's not as buff as he should be. And people are like, oh, he got exposed to COVID, and people are like, no, it wasn't COVID. He just is not as buff as he should be, so we had to delay production. Either way. I mean, I disagree with Robert Pattinson. He's just like, yeah, James Dean didn't have to be ripped. It's like,
James Dean wasn't fucking Batman.
We're not making James Dean movies. James Dean's not Batman. Yeah, that's not what this character is.
Pee Wee Herman didn't have to be buff either. Go be in a Pee Wee movie.
Yeah. But I like having an ephemeral Batman. He doesn't have to be as jacked or as wide as Ben Affleck.
No, I don't like the look of being insanely jacked anyway. Like, it's obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like it looks like you look like a bag of laundry that can't move. Like, look like you're fit. Look the way Brad Pitt did in Snatch when he's fucking bare knuckle boxing.
Fight Club.
Look slick. Look like an actual fighter. If anybody watches, you watch fighting, you watch MMA, and you watch boxing. Like,
the fighting weight.
The most dangerous fucking dudes are slick. They don't look jacked. They look slick, and they're fast as fuck. Like,
yeah, it's the difference between being in engagements and fighting compared to lifting weights.
Yeah.
And what muscles you use and the speed that you need and the flexibility that you need.
Being around bars, like, you be around you see who's scary and who's not.
Yeah. Well, I remember.
Or even playing sports, because the guys that are jacked that play sports, like, you're a ball player. You've seen fucking these big yoked guys come out and they're made of glass. Like, they take one swing and they hurt something. Like, the scrappy little guys are the most dangerous motherfuckers on the field because these big yoked guys are made of glass because of fucking an Achilles will just disappear on them, legging out one to first.
The scrappy and wiry.
Yeah.
Able to get it done.
The guys who look loose out there with like that hanging arms posture, just strutting around, I don't give a shit, and they're skinny and wiry and the most dangerous ball players there are.
There's a core strength when you do the work and you do the sport day in and day out compared to just lifting weights.
Well, I think baseball is very specific in a way. Like,
yeah, it is.
I used
precision.
I was a coach and a captain for a long time, and I always made that clear. Like, an athlete and a ball player are very different things. What you have to do physically and mentally to be a ball player, it's a reactionary sport. It's all downtime until it's your turn to shine.
Yep, it's being ready.
When you're pitching or batting or catching, it's a game of leverage and burden, really. Like, who in your mind do you think this is on? Like, is it on you or is it on the guy that's against you right now? And if it's always on them, whether you're pitching or hitting, that's where your mind needs to be. Like, it's those guys, like, you know that when you're out there in Little League, you know as a kid, like, please don't hit it to me. Please don't hit it to me. Or fucking bring it to me.
Yeah.
Fucking let's get out of this inning. Bring it to me so we can get out of this fucking inning. And you know those guys versus not those guys.
And it's that type of mentality with baseball that is such a prolific mental skill to have that applies to production. And to be on your toes, to be ready for anything that comes your way.
It definitely served me in bar. Like years of
absolutely.
that served me in bar. Like
absolutely.
Make decisions quick. Like let's go pee before round 3.
Okay, cool. Here we go. Okay, we are back after potty break number 2. We were talking about Marvel Entertainment. Wonder Woman. I saw it's Wonder Woman Day today on social media. The first film I liked except the third act, which a lot of people agree was ruined by Jeff Johns.
You know what I think of Wonder Woman? I'm a big fan of Gal Gadot because I love Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
I love everything about those crappy movies.
I love that shot when she, jumps off the car to save her love and fades into the darkness, but those 2 pistol shots to take him out.
Which means she's probably secretly still alive, if you know anything about that. They'll just kill anybody and bring him back.
I heard the announcement that Fast and the Furious 11 will be the final movie in the franchise.
11. That's where they're going to stop.
Is that the next one? When they're all retired?
9 is the next one, right?
What is the latest one that got delayed for a year? Is that 9?
9.
9,
yeah,
okay.
9.
10 and 11?
Yeah, because Hobbs and Shaw... masterpiece. I want that movie to be my life.
That movie is exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. Just
crowd pleaser.
Crowd pleaser action flick. It was fun. Yeah. Bond got delayed. I wonder how that's going to end because the latest Bond, Spectre, didn't like.
Yeah, it
was weird.
Daniel Craig is a great casting for
amazing.
Bond. But there's one that's like an entire 2-hour poker game. It's the first
Casino
one.
Royale.
Yeah, it's too much poker. Then there was a good one.
People say it's a
Quantum. I think Quantum of Solace was the one
after
that.
People say that's the one that people don't like. Yeah.
And then there's the one that is Home Alone for like the third act,
which is great.
Yeah, like
with
fucking James Bond versus the Wet Bandits. Skyfall
and
is the Wet
think
Bandits.
Not Quantum. I like Quantum a lot because it delves into the deeper conspiracy of the whole international ring that's part of this thing. But everybody liked Casino Royale just because of the fresh take it was on Bond.
And
Skyfall was
poker was hot.
Sure.
When that came out.
Oh, hell yeah.
Everybody was watching ESPN The Ocho and watching poker.
Thanks to Dodgeball for bringing that up, too. But the Skyfall film was very both personal for James Bond, but just Javier Bardem was such a real, dangerous bad guy. Because he used to be an agent.
He's believable as that, and every time he's done that.
Oh yeah. And
or what's it? No Country.
No Country for Old Men.
Yeah,
call it.
Yeah.
Call it. This quarter's been traveling for this long. Oh, geez, that's such a.
Is it Ray Fiennes? It's the one that rolls full circle into Old Bond, right?
Yeah,
that's the last one. Like Ray Fiennes becomes
the next M.
Yeah,
it's. When you have seen so many different films.
Bring back John Cleese.
As Q.
John Cleese.
Yeah.
You have to say Cleese.
His
family was John Cheese originally.
Yeah, and he changed it. Yeah. I remember that story. But
his dad changed it. He didn't change it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you see so many films, so many Bond films, and you go, how can we differentiate ourselves? How can we create scenes that people will
quit making Bond movies and do something else?
When you own the rights to Bond, though, it's kind of a sure thing. So I think what Daniel Craig and his team have done, the creative team behind it, has made something definitely lasting. I just hope this last entry is the punch that it needs to send off this version of Bond very well.
I as much as I love these big IPs, and I'm a fan of this kind of pop culture. Mm-hmm. Like earlier, even this morning when I got up before I got ready to come out here, I was watching a documentary on the movie Tremors. And
that just came out recently.
Yeah, how I mean those 2 guys that wrote Tremors are the same 2 guys that wrote Short Circuit, and like kind of how those guys met in film school and how those guys wrote these wacky ass movies. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's more of that, please. Let's see more of that shit. And we've seen cool shit, but we don't see enough of it.
True.
Utopia is cool.
Why? From our digesting of media for as long as we have, why do you think the current state of media is so risk adverse to taking chances or creativity?
Money. I mean,
yeah.
People don't rent the same way, I guess, either. Like it's like the binge thing has happened. So if you follow these certain metrics, they can just like, that's why you find these 3-season setups now. Everybody's doing like 8 episodes per, 10 episodes per, 6 episodes per for only 3, because that's kind of market cap, which is unfortunate because some of these properties are so funny. Like Future Man is one of my favorite properties, and they did the 3, and the guy that played Corey Wolfhart, I haven't seen him in anything else. He's the funniest goddamn character on television. But yeah, needs to be more of it.
Sure.
More intellectual property that's just absolutely original.
Well, there's a democracy of distribution, which I feel a lot more creativity and quirky type of stuff that wouldn't find or really wouldn't land with a mainstream limited scope audience.
It's fun that Cobra Kai landed.
I need to watch it.
I mean, I watched it 2 years ago when they put it out on YouTube Red. It's not new. Like, it's been out, but it was just a service that nobody had. I got it for Cobra Kai, so I saw this years ago, and I was like, finally, people get how cool this idea is. But
I like YouTube Red because I don't have to experience ads when I use YouTube every day. It's just video. So that cuts down on my time. To me, that's a worthwhile of $10 a month to save me.
Here's one of the things,
hours a day.
When they track the recommended videos, it's actually better if you don't log in. I feel like when I wake up, what's tracked is better if I'm not logged in.
I kind of felt that too sometimes when I log in. I'm like, wait a second, how did the algorithm get me over here?
Yeah, like if you're logged in, sometimes it's just fucking crap. But if you're not logged in, it's just like it's on the surface because if none of your subscriptions are dictating, like it's kind of where you trend right now. Like you're watching patterns without your subscriptions. So I'll suffer through ads to have it kind of track my watching patterns more. Have you had the phenomenon where you've discussed an item that you want to buy or something with your wife or a friend, and then all of a sudden you go on YouTube and then there's a video about it? That's happened to me a couple times, but it could be how the algorithm tracks my emails and my search patterns and stuff. Because these algorithms are actually pretty strong, and I think they know more about you than you think they do. Particularly like if anything that you're talking about is near anything that you've searched or anything that you've looked at, because it tracks everything you do. Like, I don't know if I subscribe to it, like tracking your eye movement or anything like that. Some people think that the camera's watching your eyes move through pages and stuff like that and see where it stops as you scroll through.
Jeez.
But, I mean, that's hackable stuff. It's totally doable from a security standpoint.
Did you see that? Did you see the Snowden movie by Oliver Stone?
I haven't seen it yet.
I watched it. I even made an episode about it on my Musings show, but it was actually all the way back in August, which is crazy to think it was that long ago. But what the craftsmanship of the film did very well, in my opinion, from Oliver Stone's standpoint, was really articulate why this type of privacy, or the ability for the government to bypass this type of privacy, felt like an assault, felt wrong in the way that they articulated and presented his girlfriend, because she had these very artistic, nice photos of her being naked, and the actress Shailene Woodley, who's a very attractive woman, was playing his girlfriend, and he was trying to relate to her why she shouldn't keep these photos of her on her computer, because the NSA, the government, could be able to access those files at any time. And that to me, once I saw it relayed and presented in this method, reminded me why art and film and this type of medium is so important, because people are not going to get this in a C-SPAN broadcast, but when they see it in a film, they're like, oh, this is what it means by your privacy being infringed upon.
I think the culture of the tech industry is like, well, if they can't control their own data, that's on them.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that. I don't think the layman, normal user of anything knows how to set up secure media stuff, or do redundancy, or make secure buckets and put stuff on a cloud anywhere. Like, people just don't know how to do it. And if they do, they get paid to. And that's all just in what everybody's talking about in the Andrew Yang camps about, like, they're using your data and making a fortune off of it, and you're not making dick. Enjoy. Shut up and shop.
So how do we change that in the paradigm shift? How do we get paid for our data?
Well, clarity is kind of the start. Like, make sure it's kind of clear to everybody what's really happening, but it's kind of on people what they know. Like, people shouldn't be intimidated about how data works or how storage works, or the basics of what they're holding, their device is, and what it can do, what its capabilities are, and how information's written, how it moves back and forth, how it is broadcast, where satellite. Like, I don't think it's far beyond our grasp to like make it normal to know that, because it's fundamental to our everyday life now. Like, might as well start learning it. Learn data. Learn what it is, what it means, where it's going, who has control over it. But it's all, it's clarity. Like people like to make things intimidating. I mean, there's no value in it if it's not. Like most of this stuff is not hard to learn. Through like you were talking about Mortal Kombat 11, like just reps, like take a look, like
spend the time, put the work in.
Spend some time on YouTube, look up what a RAID array is, look what a NOS is, like know what these acronyms mean. Like know what like that little battery on your motherboard is. Know what that is. Like what is that? Yeah, some metal oxide, like complementary metal oxide.
Yeah,
semiconductor. Yeah, CMOS is something like that.
But we have the tools to figure out what it is.
Yeah, it's all there for free. All that information's free. So just get out there and fucking learn what you have in your hand. If you're going to use it as much as you use it, really fucking learn what you're using. Know what the battery is. Know what a heatsink is. Kind of just know fundamentally what you're dealing with, please. And that's going to help everybody kind of like level the playing field a little bit. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Well, everybody levels up when they're educated about it, right? And there is this effect, especially recently, looking at the power of community and really what the definition of a community is. And when you have a number of like-minded people that work really, really hard and they put a number of effort into their craft or whatever it is, everybody benefits. And when you start to have a number of people that do that continually, it creates this ecosystem that everybody's benefiting from. And looking back at the professional tournament side of Mortal Kombat and other fighting games and all these different ecosystems and tournaments that were produced at different parts of the United States and around the world, and how everything was growing and getting better because all these different individuals were putting in the work. They were becoming better leaders. They were becoming better organizers. They were becoming more effective communicators. The unfortunate part about this cycle is that COVID stopped a lot of this progress. But it has allowed different individuals to realize, what have we learned so far? How can we connect with what we've learned so far? And where can we grow from here? I think that type of attitude is a way healthier way to deal and tackle with a lot of, frankly, a lot of bullshit that happens in a lot of different industries.
You have political leanings and political opinions. I would love to know what you think about how the online gaming ecosystem impacts the information streams, particularly in politics. Is politics even an issue among the community?
I would say, just like if I was to take a straw poll of the community that I have vocalized with, be it StarCraft, League of Legends, World of Tanks, or Mortal Kombat, the majority of them are millennials, and the majority of them have now suffered through 2 system crashes of the 2008 financial collapse and now this one. So beyond the more intrinsic type of conversations about the identity politics stuff, like be it abortion or other things that people get into the weeds.
That doesn't feel like identity is really in that world.
It feels like we have tried to transcend that conversation and realize the planet is at stake.
Yeah, I feel like that's an Andrew Yang kind of culture. That's kind of
it's like you guys want to fight about that stuff. That's more religion and personal choices. Okay, we're talking about the planet and the infrastructure and green and surviving the next 12 years.
Yeah.
And I feel the gaming scene is about that life and subscribing to that. But also just as a recourse of taking the time to be exposed to a lot of different walks of life online. And I've had so many different conversations from people from all over the world where they would be like, why doesn't America have the healthcare systems that we do in these other countries? And I used to say, it's because we spend all our money on research. And then somebody from another country, I think it was England, said, no, that's not true. Look it up. And I looked it up and I was like, holy shit, you're right. Yeah. So because of having conversations with people from around the world in the gaming space, I was exposed to a lot more different ideas that was outside of the filtration of American propaganda and American media.
You said it about film. It's risk averse.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the way they design everything is risk averse. Like, and in the small instances of risk, the government completely subsidizes even the possibility, particularly in innovation and drug companies and stuff like that. Like even the possibility of risk is completely padded by your money. So those companies cannot lose money because your money is backing them up.
And that's what I get so angry when people and I'll limit the political conversation to this, but when people get so upset about socialism, but I don't feel they understand what the definition of socialism is. They attribute socialism to communist Russia. When totalitarianism,
yeah,
which
like Serbia, Bosnia.
Yeah, where they control everything in the market. Yeah. And I don't know any American who's for that. When I think of socialism from an American way, or an American way of socialism, is what we do with the military. The military is a socialism program. You and I pay our taxes so somebody else fulfills that job to to protect my liberty and my freedom, or to really protect the income of corporations, if we want to be real about the wars, but to offsource that to somebody else. The same with the fire department. The same with the police. These are technically socialist programs.
But you're creating these ideas under the illusion that any of these services are for you. Like the business interests have so much controlled all of this that most of this is literally there to protect business enterprise and property.
Yes.
It's not about you.
The growth of the empire.
Yeah. It's built for that.
And that is the fall of any empire, is when their endeavors and their budgets are built for the growth of the empire rather than the betterment of the citizen, which is why we're in the current state that we're in. And if you want a reference to the current state that we're in, look at Rome.
It's not all bad.
No. There's a lot of great things happening as well. To me, what matters the most is authenticity, and I think the struggle of the left is being authentic and not catering to this woke identity politics BS. And for the right, it's not choosing policies that are killing our planet. And I think gamers are sick of the left-right paradigm, period. They just want to cut through the bullshit and go, what's the best policy for me today? Which is why Bernie Sanders was so popular.
When both sides of this are clearly bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, we don't need Trump to be involved. He's not going away. He can lose, and he's not leaving Twitter anytime soon. So it's going to be another perpetual Trump world. Sorry, that base isn't going anywhere. And then on the other side, like, there's no policy. This guy's horrible. We're not.
Yeah. Let's
hold hands. And, secretly I'll stick the guy who poisoned Flint, Michigan in my cabinet.
Yeah. That's what a travesty that is. No, I feel for the gaming generation and for the amount of exposure that we've had from all sorts of walks of life, we've responded to the message of Bernie Sanders more than any other politician lately, because it was, we need policies and programs that take care of the needs of the American people. Period. Let's talk about that. Be a Democrat or Republican. Like, just this tribalism.
But they don't
is
want
great
you to
for
understand.
ratings.
They don't want you to understand how money works. That's why they keep using that. They keep using that analogy of, like, we don't have anything in the cupboard, like the pantry's bare, like it's a household budget, but that only applies if your house can print money. Like I've said it before, like that's not the same thing. So, like, imagine if you printed the allowance that you gave your kid. It'd only be valuable if you asked for it back. Like, it's provisioning. Like, they make the money and then they ask for it back in taxes, therefore creating the value of it, the ecosystem of the money. They can just make it, and if they make more of it and start handing it out to poor people, then the people who've hoarded a bunch of it, that amount that they've hoarded is worth a little bit less. That's what they think. They think that's the idea, is like, you start giving poor people money, then all the money is not valuable anymore. They think it just leads directly to inflation. Zero evidence of that historically, but fucking go for it. Particularly now, and when a lot of people are speculating, particularly now, because we're in like a tech fucking industrial revolution. And every time we've had that kind of industrial revolution, there's been massive government involvement monetarily into society. First after the Revolutionary War, because we had to shift from an agricultural society into a more industrial society, because that's how you maintain a military, or else we're just going to keep getting invaded and perpetually fight ourselves off. So we did it then we did it again after the Depression, after the lame duck between Hoover and FDR, and got into a New Deal and blew a bunch of money, and then fucking everybody was happy again, minus the perpetual wars. But let's blow some money.
Yeah,
It worked before.
I keep expecting people smarter than us to figure it out, but
the other idea that they keep talking about keeps not working.
Oh, trickle-down economics?
My entire life. I was born when Carter was president, and then that shit started.
That has been
just a fucking slant of bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zero class mobility in our society, and fucking $7.25 minimum wage for how many years? How many years?
For too long.
Same federal
for what, 20-something years plus? Yeah. While inflation has gone up and up and up yearly.
Tuition.
Yep. And tuition has gone up.
Just crank
price
tuition
of cost of everything has gone up.
Meat is through the fucking roof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Building materials is insane right now because of the virus, but all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's not,
but workers aren't represented. That's part of it too, because we're so separated from politics. Like locally, it's maybe 10%. Federally, it's like 5-6%, something like that. Like working class, hands dirty types.
Yeah,
being involved in politics just doesn't really exist because of this meritocracy style kind of. I mean, the left has it in droves. Fucking let's put the smart people in charge. Fucking you go home and we'll tell you when to vote and who to vote for. And they organize among their donor class. Literally, you can rank their fucking candidates among who draws the biggest donations, which is fine. They sell the feel-goodery. They're the Subaru of politics.
Yeah, but that's why I don't trust Nancy Pelosi to represent the needs of the American people.
I don't trust the Republicans either. They've been shitting on the entire fucking country for 40 years.
Oh yeah,
fuck them all.
I mean, this entire goal of Mitch McConnell to put in this Supreme Court justice is for what? To stop abortion? I mean,
Mitch McConnell won this argument years ago. The fact that we're talking about this like a lifetime appointee is that fucking important.
Yeah.
That means he won. Like, no lifetime appointee should have this kind of power, should warrant this kind of conversation. This is a democracy. That's fucking insane that we're even talking about it like this.
Well, but
that means that he won. He fucking... They control the country through lifetime appointments.
Or he won within that frame of the Supreme Court. But then when the Democrats come in and go, oh, guess what? We're adding D.C. and we're adding Puerto Rico as states, and we need more Supreme Court representatives to actually represent the population of America.
I'll fucking believe that when I see it.
And you add more judges. Yeah, I know. It's just, as much as we get our hopes up, the more disappointed we are, which becomes more and more jaded, which creates this cycle of not wanting to participate in the political process, which means not voting, which is why we got Trump in the first place. So
we do like to pretend that the stupid shit that we've done has been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Because not all of it's been there the whole time. Like we had 6 Supreme Court justices, then we had 10, then we had 9. Like that's bounced around.
Yeah.
God didn't used to be on our money. That was like 1959.
Yeah.
God wasn't on our money. Like, we didn't give a shit about a Pledge of Allegiance and that shit until, like, the 50s when fucking, yeah.
Well, there's a very weird dichotomy with the 50s and the 80s, because the 50s was this, like, after the horrors of World War II and World War I, kind of bring the country back to a wholesomeness. And then in the 80s, it was Make America Great Again to go back to the 50s. Hell, you even see it in the culture of Back to the Future, where it was like, oh, we want to go back to the 50s. We want to go back where things were great.
We're past
and now
5 Vietnams now in Corona in a pretty short amount of time. We're over 5, and that's like in theater, out of theater 5. Like that's like a heavy 5 because I think
Vietnam and the Korean War.
Yeah, like actual combined. In battle is like the 40,000 range, but like the in theater and then during time, all those numbers are added up into like 5 times that, and that's where we're at now in Corona.
I feel that every American can agree that things can be better and there are better ideas for us to implement. And if they
Some people think that most of that number is fake. They think that people die of like other shit and then just throw Corona on. They'll dust it with Corona, and that's why the ORs are somehow, or the ERs are somehow flooded with fake Corona cases.
Yeah. How can we move forward as a country if we can't even agree on
I mean, I wouldn't dismiss the idea that they're partially right, that they pad numbers to get equipment. Particularly if you're feeling lags when you're overwhelmed, like fucking do everything you can to get the equipment here.
Okay.
Particularly if people do what they're incentivized to do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
well, it goes back to the theme of it. Yeah.
That's why there's no good guys out there in this system. Like there are, but they don't get very far.
The system doesn't reward good guys.
No, it doesn't. It rewards wealth,
ruthlessness.
Well, we've created a world where like your worth is your worth, like in numbers, like in either credit score, I guess, or bank account.
We have gone away from the natural ways, and we feel separate from the natural ways, which is why it's important for me to dive deeper into the shaman realm.
Yeah, let's all do more drugs, guys.
It's helping me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it's helping me.
I'm yeah, fuck it, pro drugs.
But the overall sentiment that I had, even probably going into like 2018, was I need to connect back to nature after diving into the digital world for so long and making that into my career with video games and live media.
God, if you had a fucking life story in a film, it'd be so melodramatic.
It would be. I'm a very melodramatic person. But in your experience from the bartending world and being exposed to so much of humanity, did you get that semblance of all within the last couple of years that people were kind of sick of the laptops and the emails and being online all the time? They wanted to get back to the human connection, or was it just same old every day?
I heard some statistics about how they track engagement in misinformation, like the strategies behind kind of building misinformation on social media, and rage is the most interactive. Like if I'm trying to fuck with you as a society, I'm trying to get you pissed off because that's how I get interaction out of you. And I think we're used to that. And I think it's having an impact on people's manners in general in the real world.
Okay.
Like, because the term, not really the term, I guess like the phrase I use a lot is most people I see now don't give a fuck about people behind them in line, but they always give a fuck about how many people are in front of them in line. Like it's a very much look out for number one vibe throughout culture. And even in the woke world, like it's very much about them. It's about me. Like everything's me. Like I'm important. And I think it's because the world is bigger informationally. It's like that the stream is so big now that like people feel like they're shouting into a void, and they want to feel important. And then everything that they sell you and use it, like that's the tool. They're using that kind of insecurity built from this to market things to you and get you to engage. And the strongest way to get you to engage long-term is through rage.
True. Rage is definitely a great activator. For me right now, if I have a lot of responses on Twitter based off of a podcast episode or a video that I did, it feels great. But I would take a text from a friend over 10 likes on a tweet or a video anytime. Like to have that personal connection of somebody going, hey, I love the episode, I tuned in for it. That means a lot compared to the anonymity of the internet. Do you think that helps artists stay grounded of like, am I on the right track, or at least am I doing some of the right thing if their friends and their personal contacts are telling them, hey, I enjoyed it, compared to what the internet says?
I think different levels of fame get different reactions.
Okay.
Like most of the people I know in the celebrity world are musicians. So nobody really feels kind of untouchable. Like I've never been in a music world where you can't in some way or another meet your hero. Musically, it's easy to do. Like, especially in the last number of years, since like people basically don't get paid. It's like a free service. Music is like a free thing. Artists don't get paid. They all have other jobs. Like, unless they're mega stars, which those are teams. Those aren't even artists. Those are like teams of people creating this kind of substance that's sold to you. Real musicians have real jobs. And if they go out on tour, they sustain on merch, and they barely sustain. Then they go back to bartending, and they go back to what they do, But I've met all my heroes. Like I've met the guys from Bad Religion. I've met, all the people I liked growing up. Like I've met all of them. Like I mean, not a lot of the huge ones, but like you see it yourself. Like you worked with me at a place where like one day Mike McCready came in with all of Cheap Trick, where we were just standing there. Like that's normal for us. So
yeah.
Nobody's untouchable in that world. So once you get to a certain level, I think it's got to be weird for you as the celeb type. Like if like even as a bartender, you're a known person around a city. Like I'll go to any bar and if bartenders are there, will know who I am and give me a discount or something like that. I'll have no idea who they are. And that's just bartending. Like imagine when fucking everybody knows you,
Yeah.
Fuck that. What a nightmare.
Well,
what a nightmare that would be.
It can be, a lot of responsibility. But the beauty is when you have people that know you in real life,
Well, that's it. If you're genuine, you can just kind of skate through it, you know?
Yeah. And
just ignore it.
I think that's the part of fame that any celebrity would love, of like how they appreciate me for my art. That means I can, go here, I can go there, I can skip the line. Cool. But it's not like an asshole douchebaggery way. It's like, oh, I respect you and I want to show my appreciation of respect by giving you a special experience at my place. And that's what it feels like as a bartender when you do that for people,
Also, among kind of, I personally don't do cocaine, but fucking it's everywhere. Like,
yeah.
Warning, fucking celebrities do cocaine still. It's the 80s again.
It's there.
It's cocaine and condoms this time. Before there was just cocaine.
Yep. Now
there's cocaine and condoms.
Trying to keep things safe.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen a lot as a bartender. Here we are, ready for whatever next phase is around the corner for us in this paradigm shift.
Mushrooms
for sure. Yeah. Well, where can people find you online, Matt? And where can people learn more about your next endeavors?
Just follow me on Instagram. Matt Nichols does stuff. That's it for now. That's what I focus on. I'm not giving out the gamer tag or Facebook or anything like that. So Matt Nichols does stuff. That's the fun Instagram stuff because I just goof around with refacing myself into old movies.
There you go. And those have been some fun memes that I've seen so far. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here for another episode. I'm glad we were able to talk about all sorts of stuff that has affected us within the industry of bartending, but also what we're looking forward to in the way of entertainment. So make sure to give him a follow on Instagram. Innovate, pivot, and here we are, hopefully, in the next paradigm shift after this virus. Thanks again for tuning in to the J.Gray podcast. I'll see you next time.